Rob, thank you very much. The Boomer Schooner, one of the great sights in the tradition and pomp and pageantry of college football. They've played games of the century in this building. Gaylord Memorial Family Stadium is the site, and the Sooners are at home, coming off a credibility win in Knoxville last week to play host to Tulsa. And the Golden Hurricane just sped up, living on Tulsa time. Over 600 yards of offense in each of their first 2 wins of this year. And for Oklahoma, a walk-on that can run it and chuck it, named Mayfield, has changed the complexion of Oklahoma offensively. But you could say, as I bring in my favorite Sooner, Spencer Tillman, for Bob Stoops, it's back to the future.
Well, Timmy, these fans here in Oklahoma don't mind partying like it's 1999 as long as it produced wins, and that's what Bob Stoops did. He dipped back in his offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach Mike Leach, and he got his youngest protege, perhaps the brightest, Lincoln Riley. He comes in here, and there's no question he's going to put up great numbers. I'm really interested how he will integrate some RJP Ryan, his great running back. 1,700 yards last year. At this pace, just over 111 yards to this particular point. Can he produce that moving forward? That projects about 777 yards. That's less than half of what he produced last year, Timmy. That's the key.
This is a Tulsa team that will chunk it and play tempo, 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 and they have the second best tandem in productivity in receiving in the country.
Garris Garrett is a big target, man. He's 6'4", about 221 pounds. He's going to go up and get it. And what makes their offense work, he's got Kevin Lucas opposite of him that's going to give him that compliment. This back end for Oklahoma is very athletic and talented, but Timmy, they're going to be tested to a tremendous level so far with this tandem here.
You talk so often about how can you stand a full cup of success. We'll find out about Oklahoma today, won't we?
You bet we will, my friend.
It should be a lot of fun. We'll hear from Bruce Feldman, the third member of our broadcast team, when we come back. It's the first of a plethora of games on the Fox Sports family here on FS1. OU living on Tulsa time. Fox Sports 1 College Football is presented by Geico. The 100th consecutive sellout here at Owen Field, Gaylord Family Memorial Stadium. The third member of our broadcast team, as promised, Bruce Feldman. Bruce.
Tim, new Tulsa coach Philip Montgomery's turned one of the most dismal offenses into one of the most dangerous. Already 16 plays of 20 yards or longer. That's 6th best in the country. For comparison's sake, they were 89th in the country at that point last year. This is basically Baylor Jr. And remember, the last 4 times they played this kind of system, they are allowing 42 points a game.
Yeah, these two teams and coaching staffs know a great deal about one another. I mentioned the 100th game played under Bob Stoops in this building. He is 91-8 in home games played here in Norman. What a remarkable career he's had. And as you mentioned, Spencer, it all began back in '99, and it is back to the future for him offensively now. But they'll play defense early. Nick Hodgson will kick it away. Bishop Louis is back deep, along with Connor Floyd. Neither will have a chance to touch it, and they'll bring it out to the 25-yard line after the touchback. And 3 things we need to know when Tulsa's got the football, Spencer.
Well, first of all, it's about explosive plays. You know, our partner downstairs talked about the ability to do that. Well, can you do that against elite talent? That's the key for this Tulsa Hurricane offense. Tempo, tempo, tempo. It takes 2 to tempo. We talked about Lucas and Garrett, the great outstanding wide receivers. They will help them do that. And if they're on their game, extended drives will be a natural byproduct of their athleticism. So again, match up a lot of power in that lineup for the Hurricane of Tulsa.
Dane Evans is running a completely different offense in college, but it's a very similar one to the offense that he was engineering in high school at Sanger in Sanger, Texas. And it's one of the reasons Philip Montgomery loves having this veteran running this offense for him. Nothing doing for D'Angelo Brewer. Stopped at the line of scrimmage by Eric Stryker. There you see the numbers on Evans, and yes, that's highest in the FBS. He gets a lot of those on dinks and dunks, particularly to Lucas running those shallow crosses. 2nd down and 10 coming up.
Timmy's been highly productive, 14 straight games in which he's thrown a touchdown. He's in control of this offense at the line of scrimmage.
He gets rid of it quickly. That's Josh Atkinson, the intended receiver. Covered beautifully there by And Banasour, who's forced into starting at corner because sophomore Jordan Thomas is out. It's an internal team matter. The young man did a good job, may have gotten there a little soon, but we'll call it quality defense this time.
Tulsa aware of the fact that the Parker's not in that matchup, and so they went straight to that corner over on that side.
Yes, they
taking
did.
a shot.
Yes, they did. They're well aware that Jordan Thomas isn't here. And Banasour did start against Akron. But that's a big loss, losing Jordan Thomas. We found out about it about an hour ago. 3rd and 10. Evans in trouble. Ducks under at about the 25, maybe the 26, so they net about a yard or 2 on their opening series. That's it. Well, they're going to actually set it right back at the 25, so they get 0 yardage in their opening series and will have to punt it away.
Eric Stryker, their big playmaker on defense for Oklahoma Sooners, in there early and often. He's the guy that they'll move around a lot in this adjusted defensive scheme that Mike Stoops has put together to take advantage of his athletes.
Well, Philip Montgomery wanted a fast start when he talked to us the other day. They get nothing in the opening series. Dalton Parks will punt it away from his 15, and Sterling Shepard is back deep. Quickly with the fair catch called at the 37-yard line. Let's get after this 48-yard punt. The 3 things that we need to know when Oklahoma has the football.
Partner, we talked a little bit about in the open. It's about finding balance. Some R.J. Pirine, got to get him untracked here. And I think what will help them in this system that uses the pass to set up the run, it's the sure hands. They've got to be able to do that. And Pirine showed you he had some. D.D. Westbrook had a couple of drop passes a couple of weeks ago and then one against Tennessee. He's got to be sure. Then the offensive line play has got to step up. Orlando Brown's going to be a great one in years to come. He's young. He's athletic. And speaking to Merv Johnson, the former offensive line coach now working radio, he says he's going to be one of the best they've ever had.
He's one of 3 new starting offensive linemen for this OU team. Mayfield looking long for Westbrook. He's got it. D.D. Westbrook right on target from Mayfield, 39 yards, and the DB pulled up lame, it appeared, in single coverage.
Yeah, there's Jarrett Wilson out there. You can see press coverage. He gets to the outside. Does Westbrook. We talked about him needing to be sure-handed, and he was on that particular play.
You can see there that he pulled a hammy trying to defend him. And there's Deron Neal right away. Did he get in? Just shy of the end zone, inside the 1.
And you can see pace and tempo. A big factor for the Oklahoma Sooners. Both these programs rely on it. Oklahoma mastering theirs early. Something they didn't do in the first 2 games of the season, particularly against a tough and-game Tennessee ball club.
Pirine the lone setback. 59 yards in 2 plays. Pirine stopped behind the line of scrimmage. Back at the 2 by Derek Alexander.
Timmy, it's always going to be tough enough to get yards inside that compressed area, the red zone. It gets especially tough down here. But again, an inline runner sit up next, adjusted to the quarterback, as opposed to being 7 yards deep where you've got your heels. I like Pirine in that setup. His heels are there now. We'll see if he gets another shot at it.
Dimitri Flowers may have lost another half yard.
Boy, it's just so tough to generate the kind of momentum. This is really basic physics. The deeper you get him back here as an inline runner, 5'10", about 230 pounds, give or take. The faster he goes, the deeper he is, the more difficult he becomes to tackle down there. So this is just one of the things that Lincoln Riley has got to figure out, how to utilize him. Mixon is an option down here as well. He can catch the ball, so you'll see him line up back in the backfield as well.
3rd and goal, Mixon and Pirine in the backfield, as you mentioned, out of the shotgun. Play fake, and with a middle pass, a laser thrown a little too hard for Shepard and thrown a bit behind him. And Tulsa does the job defensively. Credit Matt Linscott as well as Brubaker and so many of the others in that interior front.
Yeah, that one's a little high and away for you baseball aficionados, if we can mix metaphors there. But a little heat on that ball, but the bottom line is the Sooners have been able to move the football down the field, and they've shown that. That certainly bodes well for their offensive.
Austin Seibert will try a 20-yarder. So a win for the Tulsa defense, given the fact that they gave up 59 yards in 2 plays. It all began with D.D. Westbrook, the young man from Blinn Junior College, who is such a tremendous athlete, but it ended with a field goal. We'll be back. $3-0 our score. Oklahoma having to settle for the 20-yard field goal.
As you look at Philip Montgomery, his team was 3 and out and didn't pick up a yard in the opening series. Hudson will kick it away yet again. Both Bishop Louis, number 7, and Connor Floyd, 80, are back deep. This is where the wind comes whipping down the range. A heck of a breeze behind them. And Louis will again decide to take a knee. So, Spencer, let's get our 4 keys to today's game.
Well, if you're Tulsa University, one of the keys is to keep Oklahoma one-dimensional offensively. But for the pull-up on the hamstring, you essentially done that because Oklahoma did it all through the air, not much happening on the ground. And then Oklahoma steady progress in all phases. Each coach we talked to yesterday talked about that systematic approach to improvement. It's constant, steady. That's how they're going to measure success.
Zach Langer will be in the backfield, number 24 this time. He and D'Angelo Brewer share time. Very interchangeable in this offense of first-year coach Philip Montgomery. Dane Evans, as we mentioned, a veteran here, but not with this offense in college. He did throw for over 3,000 yards a year ago. That's a quick look in that's caught by Kieris Garrett. Garrett will a lot of times spread and use that vertical spread to get going, and it's Lucas that catches the inside stuff out of the slot.
And it was Zach Sanchez who was on the back end of that play playing defense that he got that completion against him.
And Langer right ahead for a couple of yards, and that's it. Second down at 8 coming up. Let's look at the first play here.
Well, it's that inside receiver on the quick slant route you're talking about. It's what we call a switch route. When those two cross like that, Timmy, it can be problematic. It was tough for Sanchez to cover.
On 2nd and 8. That power was thrown behind Kevin Lucas and became a dangerous pass as a result. So 3rd down and 8 coming up. Well, Bruce Feldman talked about the Baylor family tree of offense, and of course the Leach connection is back in vogue here at Oklahoma. There are different tempo attacks, and you have to understand the incestuous nature of this industry. So many coaches are connected to one another.
Kevin Sumlin, Dana Holgerson, you can go down the line. But one thing they all have in common, they use pace and tempo, and you're looking at a matchup right here by the quarterback. Nice.
Beautiful to Garrett. You know, and he's got a tremendous arm. Evans' arm is as good as you'll see. Atari Bird, number 4, the free safety, making the tackle. He's very accurate on his post routes.
And what you're seeing is they're not holding back. They're going right after a tremendous cover guy, nickel guy Sanchez in that slot. They're not backing away on the Hurricane.
Here's Langer. He quickly pops through to the 40-yard line of Oklahoma. That's an 8-yard gain.
Timmy, once again, you can see the inside right here. Here's Sanchez bumping, and he allowed him. He thinks he has help inside, but again, so much physicality here. When he releases inside, you can't really cover that. That's why Tulsa will always remain in this game.
2nd and 2. There's Atkinson. He had a big touchdown catch going deep early against New Mexico last week. One of their 2 victories, the other being an overtime win against FAU. 17 yards on that pickup.
Yeah, Montgomery's marking his whole mindset and approach. He's painting this field from left to right to tell the Oklahoma Sooner back in, we're going to put stress on every aspect of your defense. And then when they get them concerned about the perimeter, watch how effective the inside run game becomes.
Ball at the 28. First down. Langer burrows down to the 25. Atari Bird coming up from free safety to aid on that stop.
And Timmy, that little run looks nondescript, but believe me, there's a method to the madness. The deal is you've got to keep those linebackers inside to at least be aware of the possibility of getting one gash in the middle.
There's Garrett again, breaks a tackle, and down to the 12-yard line of Oklahoma. Ahmad Thomas, 13, brought him down.
Boy, and they're just working on Sanchez on that perimeter, man, and they are wearing him out. They're playing a kind of a catch technique off the ball, not pressing their face, Timmy, and it's paying off for the Hurricane.
And Langer gets it inside to about the, well, back to the line of scrimmage, perhaps, after that quick pitch.
Look at the nice cushion here that you got to work with. That man bail technique. Like I said, my grandmother can get a catch on that play, man. That's great execution, recognition of the soft coverage, and sit down for the completion.
Second and 10. Sanchez highly thought of, by the way, but he's getting a workout, as Spencer mentioned. Langer takes it inside the 10 and inside the 9-yard line.
You know, last year, Timmy, one of the criticisms the Oklahoma coaches on the defensive side of the ball had to endure was, especially against Baylor, because that's what you're essentially looking at here in terms of offensive scheme. They really had no solution to their vertical passing attack, and they never really played press coverage. When you see guys backed off like this, it's basically saying either we don't have the athletes to cover them or we're concerned about getting big deep.
All right, they can get a first down at the 2. They scrimmage from the 8. Pre-snap flags come down.
Yep.
Stafford may have moved prematurely. 76 for Tulsa.
All-star offense, number 76, 5-yard penalty, third down.
Our referee is Brad Van Vark. And as you look at the Tulsa offense against this Oklahoma defense, something's got to give here.
And Timmy, I will tell you this, clearly Oklahoma has great athletes on the back end. That's not really the point here. The question is, the system will allow you to exploit it if Evans continues to make the right choices.
Third and 11. Garrett settles in, breaks another tackle, and manages the 5-yard line. That's 2 yards shy of a first down. So fourth down coming up.
See, that's where you saw an example of 6'4", 221 pounds, a senior, a mature player after the catch, getting some extra yardage to put the emphasis on the play.
Well, the false start cost them an opportunity to keep the drive alive. Redford Jones will come in to kick. He is 6 of 7 this year, leading the nation in field goals per game, and they've been important, particularly that first week when they were forced to OT. This is from 23 yards to the right hash. Out of the hold of Joseph Calcagney, a name that should sound familiar to many. The backup quarterback for Philip Montgomery. And the Golden Hurricane answer. Dinking and dunking and looking for streak routes and post patterns. They settle for 3 from the leader in the country, Redford Jones. Our score here in Norman. A beautiful fall day. Our full day of college football, sponsored by Geico, continues next year on FS1 as UTSA travels up the road north to 25th ranked Oklahoma State. Then it's Cal and Texas on Fox. And in the nightcap, come on back to FS1. 19th ranked BYU will square off against 10th ranked UCLA. It all continues next on your home for college football, Fox and FS1. Along with Bruce Feldman down on the sidelines and Spencer Tillman in the booth. Tim Brando, happy to have you with us. Preston Soper will kick it away for Tulsa after a 12-play, 69-yard drive. They kept the ball for just a little under 4 minutes. That's a long-lasting drive in their offense, ending with the 23-yard field goal. Alex Ross, Deron Neal are back deep for OU. Pooch it towards the boundary, and it's Ross. And he finds a seam. Gets inside, well, to about the 34. We've got a flag down. A 15-yard return. We'll have to check the marker here. Our referee is Brad Van Vark. Looks as though it may be a block in the back.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 36 of the receiving team. 10 yards from the spot of the foul, first down.
Let's welcome back to the proceedings in our studio in Los Angeles, Jenny Taft for this Lowe's game break.
Tim, thanks so much. Number 4, Michigan State hosting Air Force, and senior Connor Cook, calm under pressure, fires to Josiah Price for the 15-yard touchdown. Our very own Joel Klatt says Cook is the top QB available. The upcoming NFL draft, Spartans up 7-0 early. Tim Spencer, back to you.
All right, thank you, Jenny. Well, if Klatt says it, it's got to be true. Play fake to P-Rod, and Mayfield is now running for his life. He can do this, though. Boy, he got away out of all kinds of trouble in Knoxville last week. Takes himself out of bounds at the 25. So he'll leave himself 4 yards for a first down after the penalty. 6-yard pickup by Baker Mayfield.
That was Matt Linscott chasing him, and he did a great job. Did Mayfield in escaping and keeping that play and extending it for another opportunity here.
Daniel Brooks, 34, checks in the backfield. And we've had some premature movement by Tulsa as Brooks on the what could be free play is stopped after about a loss of a yard or so, but maybe a gain of a yard. Jordan Mitchell, the free safety, drug him down.
Might have been Derek Lujan on that infraction there on the left side of that interior line for Tulsa.
Encroachment.
Offside. Defense, number 99. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Good eyes by the former Sooner. They're honoring the 74-75 national champions here today. So athletic director Joe Castiglione very busy, as he will be a little later in the year when your team gets honored after 30 years removed from a national championship in '85. Spencer.
I spoke to Barry Switzer last night. He was excited about that, looking forward to it today.
First down from the 30. Boy, great penetration by that interior front of Tulsa. Brooks is stopped way back at the 26, and it's Lynn Scott again, the junior from Jinx High School in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Very undersized, but this converted safety is doing a heck of a job at linebacker.
That play's success hinges on the scissors twist between the inside linebackers on that last play. Sooners just ran right into the teeth of that stunt. That was the problem on that one, Timmy.
2nd and 13. Mayfield throws the out pattern to Shepard. Stopped at the 39. That'll be a yard shy of a first down in front of Kerwin Thomas, the sophomore from Wagner, Oklahoma, number 2 for Tulsa. 3rd and 1. They go tempo. Mayfield. We got a marker down coming in late from the side judge. Looks like we've got procedure, false start against Oklahoma as they tried to go tempo.
False start. Offense, number 15. Not all 11 players were set. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
And that's just a mental mistake. You know, when you can't get lined up and in a position, you know the snap count, you know where you're going. That's just inexcusable.
Yeah, it's Meade, Jeffrey Meade. Backup wide receiver. It did not get on the line of scrimmage. 3rd and 6. Brooks and Pirine in the backfield. Mayfield goes shotgun again. Shepard again, same pass pattern that got them to within a yard of the first down. Gets them yet another in front of Thomas again. A 12-yard gain.
Sooners working on protection. This pocket was really pristine. It had picked up the stunning receivers that coming from the back. An excellent job for the men up front.
1st and 10. We'll call it from the 46. Brooks, nice cut. Gets it up to midfield, so a gain of 4. Michael Muto, number 1. Real leader of this team, leading tackler for the Golden Hurricane, making the stop.
Lincoln Riley trying to put some stress on this Hurricane back end with personnel substitution, hoping for a minimal mistake along the way.
Yep, we got a little swing pattern out to Mixon. Beautiful cut back against the grain and inside the Tulsa 40. You know, we talked about the familiarity here with Stoops and Philip Montgomery. How about defensive coordinator Bill Young? He's been at it for a long time with Oklahoma State ties, running this defense for the Golden Hurricane.
That's right. He has an eye for how to stop this type of system. But again, the advantage for Oklahoma with their substitution is getting the right personnel and exploiting matchups, as we just saw in that last play, Tim.
On first down, Mayfield decides to tuck it. And he's got wide open spaces. Touchdown!
Like Itzhak Perlman, when one of your strings break, can you still make music? Mayfield certainly can. When he pulls it down, Timmy, and he's headed for the house. The patience to wait on the cavalry to get a couple of blocks for him. Outstanding job by Mayfield.
Oh, you went Juilliard on me there. I love it. Mayfield is the maestro, and he is digging it. 10-3, Oklahoma. Fox Sports 1 college football. is presented by Geico. Baker Mayfield with a wonderful decision here.
Well, it was a tremendous job of his eyes staying upfield to bring in the coverage, and then when it broke down, he was able to take advantage of it. Timmy, that's just an excellent impromptu play and the decision by his quarterback to take advantage of a coverage scheme.
It's really an interesting story how Mayfield got here and became the quarterback at just the right time for Lincoln Riley's arrival. Decided to walk on at Bennett, Texas Tech. You know, they didn't really know how good he was until he was on an intramural softball team. And look at this. Pretty amazing stuff. Bishop Louis back deep, and again it sails beyond him for the touchback. Sometimes you just have to get the foot in the ground.
Yeah, you do. We talked about Oklahoma finding their balance. How about this right here? Some R.J. Pirine making the opponent lose their balance. Nice job.
The guy that used to be something that guys like Mixon and Pirine following in the footsteps of one Spencer Tillman and Lydell Carr. A brief stopover in the year before the national title of Dupree. Boy, you think about the incredible backs, you wonder who you're leaving out more oftentimes than not.
Earl Johnson.
So many.
I mean, there's a ton of them.
D'Angelo Brewer is in the backfield now for Tulsa with the ball at the 25-yard line. Billy Sims, hello.
Marcus Dupree.
Yeah. Kevin Lucas on the receiving end of this pass. Gets it out to the 31-yard line. So a gain of 6. Tulsa's going to continue doing what they do in real time and force Oklahoma.
Well, Oklahoma's got to get in coverage here. They busted this coverage on the back end. This is going to result in significant yardage.
And another first down. This one for Connor Floyd, veteran at Tulsa's, played in what is now his 35th game. That's his 34th career reception.
Tari Bird was back in their free safety spot.
There's a little bubble screen. Good pop. Ooh, they had it ready. Garrett caught it. You could see both Floyd and Lucas with blocks out there, and he almost popped it.
Yeah, the Sooners, though, got to do a better job with communication. Atari Bird was back there in that free safety position, Timmy, and couldn't get lined up.
2nd and 5. Brewer, a yard shy of the first down at the 49. Stopped by Jordan Evans, 26. Native of here in Norman, prepped at North High School. 3rd and a yard. Brewer, I don't think so. A lot of help coming up in that secondary to help the interior wall, led by Romar. Alexander was also in on it. Hard to miss number 1.
Yeah, sometimes the big heavy's in the middle. The zone read, when that end comes down, you just leave it in the belly. Does Evans. Nice enough job on execution, but the Sooners holding fast defensively.
Yeah, Philip Montgomery knows even after the loss of about a yard with 2 to gain, they probably need to keep the football here. So a 4th down decision forthcoming here in Norman when we return. In the long history of this rivalry, the first one back in 1914. A couple of photos from that game took place on November the 30th. Notice the automobile section on the side of the field. No, Spencer Tillman did not play in that game.
Step right up, get a ticket for the Oklahoma Sooners.
Let me tell you, old fella, we got a decision here for Tulsa that's pretty interesting. 4th down and 2. And, you know, in this offense, I get it. You go for it a lot. But is it a little early, even by Montgomery standards, to be doing this?
No, I think it's a good decision. Look at the edge. Look at up at the right, Timmy. The read is there.
Langer looks like he has enough. Took it over the right-hand side. That guard, Chris Wallace, has been there a while. Looks very, very close. Now Oklahoma saying that they may have stopped him. So very, very close. This measurement will be, and I think Tulsa's thinking we didn't get a good mark at all.
Wow.
Langer stopped. So in many respects, he may question this mark.
Well, he may question the mark, but one of the things that you shouldn't question is the read. If you're going to run to the reduction or the side where the end is down, Coach Montgomery had a chance out. Look out here. That's where you run to with the reduction. You take the ball out of his belly and you head the opposite direction, or the back has got to have enough vision to see that. That was a pre-snap read, Tim. It's not difficult. You run where they're not. That's the key.
So you're saying it was a bad read.
It was a bad read, but you also come with enough time at the line of scrimmage to decide at the line to change the play to go the opposite direction.
That could really tilt this game for Oklahoma now. style of offense that Tulsa plays. They know they can score, but being behind by 2 versus 1 score is problematic. D.D. Westbrook on the receiving end. Couple of yards shy of a first down, maybe 3. Pickup of 7.
Westbrook showing sure hands. He showed it early in the first series and then continuing it now.
Brooks on the receiving end there, getting a lot of playing time, the redshirt junior. Here he goes again. Undercut by Kerwin Thomas, the corner, number 2. But not after he picked up yet another first down.
Oklahoma trying to work the edges, and as Perine makes his work back into the game, trying to put stress on this Tulsa Hurricane defense side to sideline.
Westbrook goes flank to the top of your screen. Sterling Shepard, number 3, to the bottom. Mayfield looking for Shepard. There was a bump, and there's a flag. Jordan Mitchell, 13. And you know that he really didn't have to do it. The pass was overthrown. That was a mistake by the Tulsa defender. You know, they allow some jousting, but that one came late, and frankly, he just didn't need to go there.
It was unnecessary for a couple of reasons. Number one, they had what you call a banjo coverage, a defender inside and out. Mitchell was on the outside. Shepard tried to make the adjustment, but again, he can't consider the distance. You've got help over the top. Just back off and let the defense be your best friend in that scenario. No need to engage Shepard on that play.
Perine comes back into the backfield. Mayfield sends again Shepard to the bottom of the screen. Tulsa with inside pressure, but Perine navigates through it. Past the 20, inside to the 19-yard line.
Golden Hurricane has guessed well on these little run plays. Obviously, they're dialed into the cues. Perine showed some nice patience, waited till that scissor stunt cleared up, and then picked his way through for a couple of yards.
Second and 6. Lion's share of those numbers for Mayfield on his touchdown run. Plenty of time, and it's running out. Incomplete. That's a coverage play, really, for Tulsa. Nice job. The pressure was coming from Alexander. A.D. Miller was the intended receiver.
You make a pretty good analysis there. That's pretty good, Timmy, on your part. That was total coverage there. Outstanding coverage by the Golden Hurricane, shoring up everybody up, locked up in man coverage. Excellent job.
Well, you work with the best, you pick up a few things. 3rd and 6. Mayfield on outstanding run there by Andrews, 81. He's a guy that can play tight end. They can set him out to play wide receiver. He just stopped and came back on a quick curl, and it's good for a first down just outside the 10.
Anytime you see a bigger guy running, he's got 2 guys on either side of him, Tim, that's really typically where you would go away from that, because he shouldn't warrant the coverage of 2 defenders.
Lincoln Riley's got a lot to work with as you see Mixon now split out wide to the top of your screen. And he's going to get it. Right on cue. Mixon! Touchdown! The late motion to get him in that position enabled the wide receivers to block for him.
Timing is everything. You see Orlando Brown out there, number 78, trying to get a block. Westbrook pulls up, does the smart thing, does not commit an infraction and block in the back. And you saw the power and the push there to finish off by Mixon.
6 plays, 49 yards. After Tulsa went for it and failed on 4th down. OU takes advantage of the short field. Well, you could say the Sooners have done a nice job of mixing it up. And they lead by 2 touchdowns. (17-3) our score. Oklahoma with the lead. Mayfield having his way early, and particularly in that last drive, only having to go 49 yards for that touchdown. He's 8 of 10, 122 yards on the day, and also a 39-yard touchdown run. And you see Philip Montgomery talking with Mayfield's counterpart Dane Evans. They need a big drive here and something productive. Even though we're very early in this game and you expect the scoreboard to light up, you're down 2 scores. The time is now. Bishop Louis again and Connor Floyd back deep. Happy to report that Spencer Tillman has joined our Fox 4 committee.
Nice.
Bruce Feldman, who's also down on the sidelines for us today, and Stuart Mandel, who is our version of Jeff Long, chairman of the committee. We've put out our first one. There's Ohio State, Alabama, TCU in the 4th position, Michigan State at 3. Now, how did you vote last week? What was your? How about some transparency?
Well,
what was your
transparent? We'll get more than we got out of that committee, right? Ohio State, man, by far and away, they're top to bottom. They're about as well equipped to repeat as anybody in the last decade.
I have TCU 2 and Alabama in the 3 position. That would be the only difference for me. Michigan State certainly worthy after their win against Baylor of being in the 4th position as Langer takes it ahead to the 30-yard line. Ahmad Thomas making the stop. We mentioned Bruce Feldman. Bruce, how do you see it?
Guys, I got 2 Big Ten teams at the top. I thought Ohio State looked like a defending national champ, and that was an impressive win to shut down the Oregon run game the other day.
Well, Zach Langer just got right through the Oklahoma interior wall and gets it inside the 25 to the 23-yard line, and Banasaur made the saving tackle. Boy, that popped wide open, Spencer.
Yeah, it wasn't rocket science. A base play off the left side. Now tempo.
Going fade. Wow. Looking for the corner, incomplete. That's Kevin Lucas. He and Kieris Garrett are so quick.
Now, Lucas is the smaller of the 2 receivers, but his deal is speed, and he demonstrated on that last play. But the play that set this thing up was just a little pop right off the left side, a power play, and then the Hurricane come right back using pace and tempo as a tactical advantage.
He's only got the 1 catch today for 6 yards so far.
Nice.
Brewer pops it, this time over the right side, so challenging the left side of that Oklahoma defensive front, and it's been successful for them. Hatari Bird, the free safety, making the stop, the junior from Fresno.
Timmy, they're working the left and the right side right now in that interior line of Oklahoma.
Brewer remains the setback. 3rd and 4.
Watch the slot right in the numbers in the 20. They're going to attack that side of the field, Tim.
So the top of your screen, keep an eye on that. Evans has to bring it down, manages the 15-yard line, and yet again another decision. 2 yards away from a first down for Philip Montgomery. Matt Romar makes the tackle. He'll have time to think about it as we've come to the end of quarter number 1. Oklahoma got stopped in 1 series. After that, they were off to the races offensively. Lead it by 14. As we come back to open the second quarter, apparently Philip Montgomery's made his choice. He's going to take the 3 here. But he went for it on 4th down earlier, and I thought it was a pivotal play when they didn't get there.
If you don't think pace and tempo has really affected this game, everybody's impacted by it. The chain gang had a tough time getting lined up, and then this is just a power play. Sooners put it in there, put their helmet right on his helmet, and denied him the opportunity to get in there and get that first down, Timmy. It was a tough call, but you know what? I'm not so sure I wouldn't have pulled the trigger on it as well.
Redford Jones will try from 32 yards. It's blocked. Sanchez got through there, kept it alive, and the Sooners are on top of it at midfield. Devontae Bond may have been the guy that blocked it, 23. He's the first guy that you see on the left-hand side of the screen when we look at this replay, and then Sanchez was able to run it down. Devontae Bird, 23.
Well, let's see where Bird is. You can't see him in the framework right now, but you can see him right there doing a great job of jumping over. We call this, he's the jumper. Right between them, that's textbook, just like Jerry Glanville used to teach us back in the day, Timmy. Great special teams effort there.
Oh, it hit him right.
Man, that's great. Hit him right in the chest, didn't
yeah. Magnificent technique. So 2 fourth-down decisions that have really hurt Tulsa. One, the decision to go for it. The second, the decision to get 3. Pirine in the backfield, Mayfield with time. Deron Neal. You know, you forget sometimes how highly celebrated a player Deron Neal was coming out of high school. Jesuit in St. Louis. He was a top 75 player. And he 18 yards on that pickup.
Yeah, he got broken coverage that helped him on that as well. So you combine a mistake with an athletic player. Neal is going to take advantage of that every time.
Well, we have whistles stopping play for the moment.
It's under further review.
I think they're going to review perhaps where he went out of bounds. Is that the decision? It apparently is. It looked to me very simple that he had made that catch, but they want to take a look at it, and they will.
So maybe it was the spot that they're
I think it may be the spot.
Because he's inbounds. Yeah. Clearly, he makes the completion.
I think they're looking for the spot. Yeah, I think they're looking at the spot. I think the spot was a little further down. No question he was inbounds when he caught it. I think they're curious. Yeah, right there he stepped out back at the 32. And they wanted to be sure of that. I think Oklahoma has certainly answered the question of potential hangover after an emotional victory coming from 17 down in Knoxville. A lot of people thought that this might be just the right time to play them. Well, they've certainly answered that question from whatever cynics are out there.
And that was a quality win. Butch Jones has done a fantastic job getting a lot of talent into Tennessee. They're not quite back to where they were when Philip Fulmer was there, but you know what? Ultimately, I think this was a quality win, one that Bob Stoops was proud of. The defense in particular, as Mike shared with us yesterday, did some good things also.
Yeah. Mayfield, by the way, now 9 of 11 with a touchdown running and passing, 140 yards in the air. Overall, I should say, 140 yards overall. Now here is the pass. Pitch out coming to Pirine. Inside the 30 down to the 26-yard line.
You can see some of the power with Pirine there. When you can get him moving across the formation, it becomes evident. You can get him deep at 7 yards or move him across the formation. As long as he has a way to get momentum, he's going to be more effective as a runner.
He had 48 touches. He and Pirine and Mixon, between the two, they had 48 touches in that game last week.
Nice.
So they're getting the ball just a different way. Mayfield. Nice job of Shepard coming back to the ball. And another 1st and goal coming for Oklahoma.
Just a veteran move by Shepard, understanding where his quarterback is. Mayfield continuing to create. Does a great job of putting that ball right on the mark between the numbers and the sidelines where Shepard could handle it.
Mark it at the 8-yard line after the 18-yard pickup. Pirine the lone setback. Mayfield. He'll take it again and waltz in for another touchdown.
Boy, if you're Jordan Mitchell trying to defend this, number 13, after Mayfield brings this ball down and does a tremendous job of faking everybody out and finds real estate. It's all about location, location, location.
Hey, this offensive line that's young and some people believe might be the weakness of this Oklahoma team. They've done a nice job of protecting Mayfield, and his decision-making has been outstanding. Fox Sports 1 College Football is presented by Geico. With Bruce Feldman and Spencer Tillman, Tim Brando. Here in Norman, we kick off our day, an event-filled day on Fox and Fox Sports 1, FS1 and Fox, with magnificent games all the way through from now until almost midnight Eastern time. BYU and UCLA will be closing out our evening here on FS1. You see back deep, Bishop Louis awaiting the kick of Hodgson. as Oklahoma has opened up a 21-point lead. Baker Mayfield has been outstanding, and they have used just about all of the weaponry that Lincoln Riley could have ever hoped for in a quarter and a half's play. Louis from his 2. Stopped at the 20. Well, there are obviously a lot of young men that know a great deal about one another on the field with both of these teams, and a unique angle with a family. And Bruce Feldman has more on that.
Yeah, Tim, big day for the Alexander family. One son, Derek, is a 3-year starter on the D-line for Tulsa. He's really a leader for this defense. Younger brother, Dominique, he's a starting linebacker for OU, and Bob Stoops told us yesterday he's pretty much the glue of the defense. Their dad didn't play for either school. He actually played for Oklahoma State, Derek Sr., and the kid's dad and their mom, Nicole, usually divide it up so they go to a different game each week so somebody is represented. They got about 20 family members here. This is a fun day for them.
That's great.
And an expensive day, Bruce.
And Dad played in your day, didn't
Yes, he sure did. Great player, too.
Quick pass intended for Atkinson. He was trying to run that quick look in and nothing doing. 2nd and 10 coming up.
And those Alexander family, all of those great players that were there, Leslie O'Neal and Thurman Thomas, Barry Sanders.
Garrett Limbrick, Charlie Dykes played back in those days for Pat Jones. The pass is overthrown, intended for Kevin Lucas. Evans is 8 of 13 for 77 yards. 2 crucial decisions on 4th down really tilted this game to the point where they're down by 21. 4th down miss at midfield, and then a 4th down attempt at a field goal that was blocked. Both led to touchdowns for OU. 3rd down 10. Evans gets it out to Kearis Garrett, but he's shy of the 1st down. Again, it's 2. They've been about 2 yards away with 1 down to work with on 3 separate occasions, and they'll have to boot it away here.
Well, that was a quality decision, though, by Evans as Coach Montgomery looks on. That was a cover 2 shell look. It was zone, so he just took advantage of it. Man on the outside, but 2 deep safeties. He just threw the ball where he saw the open receiver. That was a quality choice, getting what he could.
Shepard back deep, as you see Dalton Parks, 26, preparing to boot it away. On the Ray Guy Award watch list. Ranks 5th nationally in punting coming into today's game. Shepard with room to work with. Corralled out of bounds at the 38. Went high, looked like a collar, but wasn't. 51-yard boot, 18-yard return. Boomer Schooner has been busy early. Yes. In the air and on the ground.
Yes, he has. Mayfield, 10 of 12, passing 158 yards, 3 rushes, 53 yards, and 2 TDs.
24-3 our score. Oklahoma with the lead. From a yardage standpoint, Tulsa has done okay. They've just had 2 critical 4th down decisions go awry. And because of that, a 14-point swing, enabling OU to have total command of the scoreboard here early in the 2nd quarter. Samaje Perine is the lone setback. And now with motion, he has help. Play fake, Mayfield. Now this is where he can do so much. Tackled this time at about the 37-yard line as he's pushed out. He was looking for Sterling Shepard, but he was well covered. Jake Hanks running him out of bounds, 91.
And just when you think you got him in your grass, he spins out of that one and creates and extends the play. And
he had volunteers whiffing and grasping for air in the 4th quarter of that game. Yes, Oklahoma looked to be the quicker and faster team late. They did not have 4th quarter fatigue in that game in Knoxville. They did not get the ball past midfield until 11 minutes left in the 4th quarter last week, and came from 17 down to win. Westbrook on the crossing pattern. 1st down to the 45-yard line of Tulsa. Matt Linscott, 38, very active. you'll notice his speed throughout the course of the day. The star linebacker, number 38.
Love that weak side play. Westbrook coming on that shallow cross underneath, really showing some patience, and love the movement of that play.
Brooks and Pirine now in the backfield for OU. On first down. There he goes, Brooks again into the boundary, inside the 40 to the 39. Number 40, Trent Martin, the junior from Jinx, Oklahoma, with a stop.
It's a total team effort. The shallow cross route will come back here, but watch these guys right here blocking outside, showing you that they can put their hat on another helmet to get Westbrook open for additional yards. That's great teamwork by the old, as we affectionately call, pencil necks, wide receivers.
2nd and 3.
It's all in love.
Pirine, plenty of room. Samaje Perine takes it inside the 15-yard line of Tulsa.
That's when he's at his best, Tim, when he can come across the formation. Again, you've given him enough time to get downhill, even if you're just going horizontal to the line of scrimmage. But once he gets that head of speed up, he's got enough to reach the corner and turn it up and do some damage physically at the end of the run.
Pirine again lost the football. Tulsa is on top of it. And frankly, it comes at a time when they really needed it, and it's Alexander that's on top of it. The senior family member that Bruce Feldman was just talking about comes away with it. Booker T. Washington High, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Booker T. Washington known for producing some great talent out of that school. It's a legendary school. And you can see P right here on the little ISO play downhill with a tandem block off the side. He just puts a hat on it, man. It just comes right out. It's tough to see it from that back angle, but ball security. Lynn Scott got it out, but it's ball security. P. Ryan should never give that ball up. He's big and strong enough to protect it. It's all about ball security once you get in that red area.
Two great defenders for Tulsa making a play. Lynn Scott, a playmaker. Alexander, a playmaker. And they needed it to stay in this game. Zach Langer, nothing doing into the middle of that Oklahoma defense. Charlie Tapper is a big physical force along with Jordan Evans, 26. Remember watching Tapper just running down quarterbacks in that Sugar Bowl a couple of years ago. They want to see more from him in coming games. Langer tries to pop free beyond the 11 to the 13-yard line. Tulsa in need of a first down to move the chains and get this defense some rest.
They're getting some success, particularly running Langer inside, but again, it's coming in small bunches and not big enough. They're known for their explosive plays, like Bruce said at the top of the show. We've not seen many of those.
3rd down 5. This would be only their 2nd conversion of the game if they get it. Beautiful settle to Garrett. Kieris Garrett right in front of Sanchez, which, by the way, was the matchup that they took advantage of in their opening series.
Yeah, they've been consistent with that matchup, not shying away from Sanchez, who's a tremendous cover guy.
Markers down on the fly. That pass is caught by Atkinson. We'll have to check the marker. Atkinson ruled out of bounds at the 38-yard line of Oklahoma. But way back here at nearly the 23-yard line, we see that little yellow hanky.
Illegal formation on the offense. More than 4 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty, replay, first down.
That will nullify a 42-yard explosive play, Spencer T.
Yeah, you can only have 3 back there. One of those guys needed to move up either in a wing alignment or be on the line of scrimmage. You can't have 4 in the backfield in that play. Otherwise, that negates what would have been a big-time play that they needed to get back in this game, Tim.
You can lose sight of Josh Atkinson. He's caught a touchdown pass in each of the first 2 games. I think sometimes he gets lost with the defenses concentrating so much on number 1 and 2, Lucas and Garrett. But 88 can also get behind you. First down 15 after the penalty. Zach Langer trying to keep the OU defense at least somewhat honest.
You talk about Josh Atkins. I mean, we know about Carius Garrett and Kevin Lucas, but again, Atkins is a guy who's got 23 games. He started 9 times, Tim, so he's got a sense of confidence about himself, and he knows what he's doing from a scheme standpoint.
2nd and 14. Nice pump fake and a back shoulder throw that's a beauty. That's a first down to Carius Garrett.
Evans showing no regard for the cover prowess of Sanchez. They are working him out on that back shoulder stop route. That's a big-time pro throw right there, Tim.
Without a doubt. That's something you'd see from Drew Brees.
Here comes the sack. Back at the 33-yard line. And it's Ahmad Thomas coming on the blitz from the strong safety position, number 13.
Well, one of the things that Mike Stoops told us yesterday, he understands this quarterback is capable, so they've got to find a way to affect him because he has so many weapons out there. And one way to do it is with those run blitz looks or some type of games or deals to get pressure on the quarterback off the edge. Usually it's going to be striker.
2nd and 16. Langer bounces outside.
Strong run by the senior. Atari Bird comes up to help usher him out. That makes 3rd down a bit more manageable after the penalties. Should be about 3rd and 11.
Tim, if I'm Dane Evans and I'm looking at this back end for Oklahoma, I'm going to continue to work on Sanchez, but I'm also looking for a secondary opportunity to exploit this coverage as well.
Yeah, you think about they got the stop off the turnover from P. Ryan. Keeping this drive alive and doing something special to extend this game and stay in it, keeping their defense off the field would be huge.
He's got him in this twins look here right now.
There it is.
Wow.
Atkinson right on cue. That's a first down Golden Hurricane at the 43 of Oklahoma.
Evans with a beautiful look. Watch this inside look here. It's a nice little job of going on the stop route to open up the route behind it. Golden Hurricane finding a place where they can exploit this coverage.
Connor Floyd had that one go right through his hands. That one should have been caught, but it was a laser.
Dane Evans is right on the point. Again, you just mentioned the accuracy. That's what's defining these last 2 plays in particular, and he's going to continue to exploit this zone coverage on the back end for Oklahoma.
Floyd may have jammed his thumb there trying to catch it. Garrett with 8 receptions, 88 yards. Lines up at the bottom of your screen. Lucas is down there with him. On 2nd down. There it is again, right at the marker. Atkinson again.
Well, Oklahoma,
that should be a first down.
Got a player down, but Oklahoma's got to do something about the coverage scheme and press the issue. They've got to find a way to affect the quarterback. This is pitch and catch for Evans.
Charles Tapper is the Sooner that's on the ground, the senior from City College by way of Baltimore, Maryland, a young man that did so much for this program and they expect so much from. So we'll check on his status. That was, by the way, a pass good enough for the first down at the 33-yard line of OU. He was a monster in that Sugar Bowl win against Alabama. That's the one that I remember him most from. He's a little groggy, but is able to make his way back to the sidelines.
He showed you some speed. He showed you all his athleticism in that game too. Chased down one of the first-round draft picks they had. Here's again another look at that ball that was completed between that zone coverage, and doesn't look like it's apparent what the injury was, but nice job of hanging on to the ball between the zone coverage.
Great hands by both Atkinson and Garrett on this drive. One with an over-the-shoulder, back shoulder reception, and that one snared out of the air by Atkinson. Evans with a pump fake. That's got to be a flag. Atkinson was held on to by Mbanasor, who, as we mentioned, is starting in place of Jordan Thomas, which is a big loss. And again, the word we got from the Oklahoma administration, an internal team matter that will be dealt with. The news breaking overnight. Atkinson being used a lot in this drive. 3 catches, 40 yards.
Pass interference, defense number 2, 15 yards from the previous spot, automatic first down.
When Banasor here, again, this is where the infraction is going to take place. Man coverage can be intimidating, particularly against a big body receiver. You can see he puts that left hand to impede released by the receiver, and then Atkinson was trying to get loose, but Bannister just clearly grabbed him. And again, the theme on this drive, it's really taking advantage of the new player, the new kid in the back end of this coverage scheme for the Sooners.
Play fake to Langer. The throw is right on target. Touchdown, Atkinson. What a remarkable drive for the Golden Hurricane. Oh, that's big time. They got a fumble recovery at the 8-yard line from Pirine and then marched 92 yards. And Atkinson really was the go-to guy for the entire drive.
And Bannister, again, on the coverage there, Tim, the common theme is after you burn a guy one time, you put him in a mindset where he isn't able to snap and clear what just happened, and you come right back and tack him again for a score. That's outstanding play calling.
Redford Jones for the extra point. Well, they are getting through there. And there was another jump technique that almost worked. They're going to have to identify that later on. It began with the Pirine pilfer, courtesy Lynn Scott and Alexander. And it led to Atkinson. 4 receptions, 58 yards. This, the culmination, and 6. Oklahoma now leading by 2 touchdowns, 24-10. Josh Atkinson with a remarkable impact on that last drive. 11 plays, 92 yards. Remember that because Oklahoma goes in. They've got total control of this game. And the inability to get the ball back and go up by 21 could make this a game again, as explosive as Tulsa can be. And they proved it in that last series. You see back deep Deron Neal, along with Alex Ross. And we've got a marker down as Alex Ross brings it out. Stopped at the 23-yard line. I thought we saw a flag. Maybe it's been picked up.
That's one on the 40.
Oh, there it is at the 40-yard line. I see it again. Let's get the word here from Brad Van Vark.
Offside, kicking team number 44. 5 yards will be added to the end of the run. First down, Oklahoma.
Let's go down to Bruce Feldman to talk about taking advantage of weaknesses. And Tulsa just did, didn't they, Bruce?
Yeah, Tulsa, Tim, has 2 big-time receivers we talked about, but it was the other guy, Josh Atkinson, with the matchup against P.J. Bannister. He's a cornerback that the Sooners really like. He's very physical. If he can't get his hands on you, he's still very raw, and we saw them target that with kind of a soft coverage, and Atkinson had a big drive.
Well, you're right, and not only that, but Sanchez, who's really one of their best corners, was victimized earlier in the game. Here's Mayfield, who may wind up the leading rusher in this game based on all the room he's finding as Tulsa defensively decides to max cover and not rush really more than 3 or 4 at any given time.
Well, as long as Mayfield continues to get the kind of protection that he's getting, you cannot cover these guys one-on-one down the field. So the coverage will eventually break down. He'll have an opportunity to run in freelance.
From the 46 on first down.
Nice.
Shepard hammered, but he hangs on and comes up with his guns ablazing.
Mayfield sees the deep over route. There's a penalty on the play there, Timmy, but great execution on the front end.
He didn't waste any time as he was sandwiched by McKinley Whitfield and Jordan Mitchell. And maybe a situation where they're checking about the potential of targeting here as he was hammered. We shall see.
Well, as they powwow, still you have to appreciate the fact that Mayfield did an excellent job of identifying the coverage, and on a deep over route just puts it right on the numbers.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 3 of the offense. 15-yard penalty.
It was the flashing of the guns, the muscles at the end. I saw it too. He did. He took the beating and came up with the the flexing of the muscles, and that is deemed inappropriate.
Well, yeah.
That's a clean tackle, no question.
Yeah, it's a clean tackle. Again, sportsmanship. You can't do that. It's a little demonstrative, and that's not who he is. That's not who his character is. His dad was a great player here, the late Derek Shepard, and I'll tell you, it doesn't get any better in terms of character and commitment, that young man right there.
It's, Dennis Simmons, receivers coach, it's spending some time with this offense. One of the new coaches on this squad. That pass is airmailed, intended for Daniel Brooks. Yeah, that's a flag that's going to come. And as I said, I witnessed it in real time. But, you know, you got to figure you're going to get hit there, and you got to, well, maybe want to take credit for the blow that you've taken. But you need to hug one of your teammates. 2nd and 10. Brooks remains the setback. They go wide receiver screen again. That's Jeffrey Mead coming down with it for Oklahoma.
A wide open screen there to Mead, and trying to go up tempo and get their personnel groupings in here. Oklahoma trying to take advantage of Tulsa, but a little bit different tactic on the edges here now.
3rd down, a yard to go.
Soft coverage down here.
At the bottom of your screen where Mead is located. Mayfield is flushed. Boy, he throws it well on the run, and it's dropped. That hit Dallas Todd between the 1 and the 9.
So far on this series, we've had the rare errant pass thrown by Mayfield, and then this particular drop here. So the Sooners got to button down. Again, that ball low and away, but it's in his belly. You got to catch that one. Sooners need to button down just a little bit, get back to executing, and do what they're coached to do offensively.
Well, they've got a yard to go, and they've elected to go for it. Mixon, the setback. Blitz coming off the corner, and Mayfield is sacked. Linscott. That guy's everywhere.
Yeah, Matt Linscott came screaming. He was hell-bent for election on that one, man, when he came from the edge, Timmy.
Big turn of events. Tulsa's got it.
Coming up on the State Farm halftime, number 4 Michigan State off a huge win against Oregon. How would they handle the triple option of Air Force? Plus Texas A&M, they look to continue their hot start hosting Nevada. And we preview our next FS1 game, number 25 Oklahoma State, UTSA. Tim Spencer, back to you.
All right, Rob, thank you. Early on, the Sooner Schooner was, we weren't able to get it off the tarmac. I mean, they were continuing to take off, but now Tulsa has made a bit of a comeback as Kevin Lucas takes that pass and gets it out to the 47-yard line, almost, well, we'll call it the 48.
Yeah, Tulsa wants to keep those ponies in that runaway down there so they don't get their tongues hanging out.
No doubt. Play fake. That pass is thrown perfectly to Josh Atkinson again. I mean, and only where he could catch it. And we've got another flag down back at the 44-yard line of Oklahoma.
Well, Evans is really taking advantage of some holes in the back end of this Sooner defense. And again, it's one of those deals, Timmy, where it's like stealing. It's when you see the voids there, the question is, can the quarterback identify it?
An eligible receiver downfield. Offense number 88. 5 yards from the previous spot. 2nd down.
Philip Montgomery not at all pleased with that whistle, that decision. That's one of the great debates, by the way, in college football, the illegal receivers downfield. More oftentimes not the receiver position, but the tackles and guards getting out ahead, say by 3 yards or more, giving linebackers virtually no chance. It's been one of the issues brought up by the likes of Brett Bielema and Nick Saban, guys with defensive backgrounds. D'Angelo Brewer is in the backfield. Evans now 15 of 21, 168 yards. Low snap. Gets it into Brewer's hands. Ahead to the 46-yard line. Jordan Ware, 93, making the stop.
Timmy, the era that we're in right now in college football, it's like the quarterback is playing a video game. And in this case, Montgomery or his counterpart, Lincoln Riley, are like Xboxes. They're the brains that are actually diagnosing what's happening here in the coverage. The quarterback's task is to implement exactly what they say and they execute the play.
3rd down and 4. Evans' pass is blocked. Great penetration coming there from Oklahoma. Charles Walker, 97. 87, DJ Ward, I think, may have actually been the guy that got his big mid up there to swat it away. So a punt formation coming now for Dalton Parks. And Shepard will be inside his 15, almost to the 10-yard line, awaiting the boot. Tries to go with the end-over-end pooch approach. And it's taken by Shepard with a fair catch at the 22-yard line. Let's take a look at that penalty again on Atkinson.
It can be confusing sometimes because if he's on the line of scrimmage right here or inside the position here, he's inside. It's very difficult to discern whether or not, along with the other two receivers, if he's actually on the line of scrimmage or not. So, you know, two have got to be off of it for sure. Well, if he steps up, then they're going to call that, because if the official can't make the distinction, more often than not, they're going to call that play.
I've seen it happen a lot when it wasn't, I can tell you that. I've seen it a lot when it wasn't. Mixon on first down. Well, he just won't go down, will he? Fans admire the run. Great effort that time by Joe, the redshirt freshman. Frankie Davis, number 90, and Michael Mudo, number 1, collaborate for the Golden Hurricane.
Nice physical run by Mixon on that play against Sooners. Not in a hurry necessarily, because they've got a lead.
Mayfield in traffic, gets away from Martin, takes himself out of bounds near the 40-yard line. Trent Martin grasping for air there. And Bruce has got more on the decision-making of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, Timmy, this guy is really sharp. When he sees that Tulsa's playing man, he has the wherewithal to take off, and he has done damage when he sees the white jerseys with their backs to him. He's also shown he can really throw well on the run.
Boy, is he ever.
And what Bruce is talking about is so true, because if you're in man coverage, you have to take your eye on the quarterback to defend the play properly.
2nd and 2. Mayfield to a wide open Mark Andrews.
There are a lot of ways you can tack a freelancing quarterback, and one of them is to bring either a safety down. If you don't want to spin one of those athletic guys against a spread concept, you can keep a linebacker down and spy him. But when you put a tight end in the game and he's able to split the middle of the coverage, you better make sure that you keep an eye on him. If you leave him loose, you're going to wind up getting burned.
Seibert's extra point gives Oklahoma the 3-touchdown cushion again. You think of Sterling, you think of Neal, sometimes D.D. Westbrook, but how about this converted tight end? Hello. We welcome you back. 31-10 our score. Talking about Andrews going to break. He had 5 catches coming into today. He has been utilized big time this afternoon. And in high school, he was used primarily as a wide receiver. Came in as a tight end, is converted back now as a redshirt to wide receiver. They can line him up almost anywhere. But in high school, he caught 207 passes for over 3,600 yards and 48 touchdowns. So he can become a real weapon.
He really can. Tim, he was a consensus 4-star recruit. You know, I mean, the guy could make plays against linebackers, or if you put even safeties or smaller corners on him, he's able to make plays because of the size differential.
And here's an example of how he got open, so wide open moments ago.
Well, where's he at? Right here? Okay, there he is. He's going to work down here against this linebacker, then work his way down the middle of the field. And let's see the release. A nice little release. He splits the zone coverage. That's just a busted play by the underneath coverage. And it's Katie bar the door after that one, man. That's a nice job of dissecting it. Mayfield saw him open, split the coverage, touchdown.
And a little more speed than you'd see from your average tight end. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Now, tight ends today, you use the term, and there's Lincoln Riley. What a wonderful job he's done coming over after that run that he had with Ruffin McNeil. The time he spent learning the game while at Texas Tech. Knew he couldn't play, but Mike Leach said, young man, I'll take you under my wing. You want to learn a little something about my offense? Yes, he did. That pass is long, intended for Garrett. Second down and 10 coming up. Sanchez, who's been picked on quite a bit in this game.
And they're continuing to come after Sanchez, and the Sooners on that play bringing a weak side blitz to try to deal with that, to try to affect Evans, who's been on target for the most part today. Trips left now, Timmy. We'll see if they come back and work this inside receiver. Sooners need to get lined up.
Second and 10. Garrett. Complete, and that should be close to a first down. Not quite. They're going to call it about a yard away, maybe 2.
Got that big body out there. Looked like it was going to be close to it, but just a little bit short.
Third down, a short 2. Langer, the setback. And he has the first down past the 35 to the 36. So if they can sustain a drive here and get some points before the intermission, they can have some momentum going into the break. Oklahoma will have it to open the second half. There's another long one intended for Kevin Lucas. Coming into today's game, 101 catches, 1,219 yards, and 11 touchdowns, leading in all categories. This team, and of course he and Garrett used so often, but Josh Atkinson has been the most productive in this first half for Philip Montgomery's team today. Second and 10. Langer just shy of the 40. Stopped by Hatari Bird.
Yeah, Bird really came up from that safety position and free safety position, and that junior, 6'1", 206 pounds, really brought everything he had there to stop that play for a short gainer.
Third down 6.
4-man rush.
Tipped into the air as Sanchez jumped the route in front of Garrett. He knew exactly what was coming that time. He'd seen it enough. And it's 4th and 6 coming up.
Quick slant route. Sooners able to get pressure with just 4 men. The ball was coming out anyway, but tremendous job there putting pressure and get your hands up to affect the quarterback's vision inside the line.
It's a big stop. Tulsa unable to get through, and Shepard will again await another punt. And the way Mayfield is moving this team right now, they could score again very, very quickly.
Yeah, Mayfield's having one heck of a half. 14 of 18 passing, 272 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's running the ball well as well.
Fair catch called for at the 15-yard line. Well, the most unique voice in sports is back on the air, and I've had a chance to watch a couple of his shows. Had Al Michaels on this past week, and gosh, it was a really good interview. You should listen to. It's now on FS1. Smart talk in sports. How about that? I love it. The Herd with Colin Cowherd, weekdays noon Eastern only on FS1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Do you believe in miracles?
Yeah, he was talking about
ones, right?
Yeah,
you talk about that among others. What about some other ones?
He covered a lot of ground with Al. He really did. Daniel Brooks is the setback. First down and 10 for Oklahoma. Brooks with a nice cut. In tight ropes beyond the 25. They'll say he stepped out just at the 25-yard line.
Now, I hope I'm not indicting myself, but, you know, a lot of times Brooks is running. They got that ball seated on the inside of that hand. If he has it on the outside, he can really protect himself. And if he's got an interior rusher coming his way, a tackler, he can fend him off with that right hand. But we've all been guilty of it from time to time.
2nd and 1, really less than that.
Nice read.
Nixon ahead to the 35-yard line. Clock continues to tick. Jordan Mitchell made the stop. Fox Sports 1 college football is presented by Geico with Bruce Feldman and Spencer Tillman, Tim Brando. As you take a look at an injured Golden Hurricane, that's Jake Hanks, number 91.
Jake took a shot to the elbow.
This is a wonderful series. They're not going to play after this year for some time, but Bob Stoops said he loves the idea of playing an in-state school like Tulsa. It's good. They're only a couple of hours away. They've even played a couple of games played last year in Tulsa.
Well, you know, the good thing about Bob, he understands it makes good physical sense for the state, for Tulsa University, a private university, by the way. It makes sense for everybody. It's good for folks to come from Tulsa and travel to Norman. It's only about 127 miles. It's an easy get.
Smallest enrollment in the FBS. Less than 4,000 enrolled at Tulsa. Mayfield looking long, going for the home run. He's got it, Shepard. Out of bounds at the 21-yard line. 44 yards, that connection.
Number 3 atoning for the earlier poor decision to flex his muscles. Now he's doing it on the field where he should.
Mayfield with already 300 plus in the air. Nixon, did he lose it? I believe he did. Tulsa comes away with another one. That's Brubaker, number 8, that reeled it in.
So now you've got 2 of the top backs here, Pirine and Mixon, putting one on the carpet each for the Sooners. And if there's ever a great equalizer, turnovers can do it. You can see him cutting against the grain. Again, the ball seems to be secured.
I think it got stripped right there. Number 20, Osiabu, Zeke Osiabu, got the strip. And Brubaker, another really outstanding defensive player up front, comes away with the recovery. He missed all but one game last year with a fractured bone in his eye. Really happy to be back playing again this season for Tulsa. 1st and 10 from the 20. Those 2 big turnovers have kept the Golden Hurricane in it. Langer bolts out to about the 29-yard line, and they are going quickly here. They do have 2 timeouts that they can utilize. Langer again. That's a first down, so the clock stops. He's ahead to the 35-yard line. Stephen Parker made the tackle, number 10.
Philip Montgomery saying we can run him faster than you can defend him. Zone read, come off and play action.
That pass was tipped and still caught by Atkinson. Boy, he's putting on a clinic. Parker tipped that into the air, so he had to make the adjustment and still managed to reel it in for another first down. 5 catches for 68 yards for Atkinson, as Langer this time is stopped at the 45. How about this concentration?
Yeah, it's all about concentration going up after the ball is tipped. The trajectory of it and the path is changed. The concentration to pull that ball down, that's outstanding.
Tulsa has taken a timeout. They have 1 remaining. Well, a reminder that coming up on the State Farm halftime, it's Rob Stone, the outstanding Wani, Dave Wanstead, along with Matt Leinart. They'll be talking about what's happened already early in this day, plus Michigan State at home against Air Force, A&M playing host to Nevada. And, of course, the Cowboys and the Roadrunners will be going at it up the road in Stillwater.
Timmy, I remember back in the day, Wani was on that Oklahoma State.
Yes, he was. Jimmy Johnson did.
Yeah, and he was recruiting me from Tulsa and still doing it. Looking good, coach.
He came down, as I recall, to my hometown and played in the Independence Bowl before heading to Miami, winning a national championship there, and then on to the pros.
Was it the Weed Eater Bowl?
Yeah, I think it may have been the Weed Eater back in those days. You're right.
Oh, yeah.
Ball is at the 44-yard line now. 2nd and 10 coming up. If we have any more timeouts, this is your life. Dave Wanstead will continue. That quick slant was dropped by Atkinson. That's his first mistake of the day. 3rd down and 10 coming up.
Yeah, I like to play that quick slant a lot of times when you're not necessarily into the sun, but you're a lot closer. But that's a tough throw when you're lined up outside the numbers and trying to work against a guy who's playing you inside eye, because he's got one easy step to step in front of you, and he takes it to the house if you're not on the mark.
A junior from Carrollton, the Oak Ridge School. He's really had a very good first half. Third and 10. Evans brings it down. Makes a nice decision there, and Kieris Garrett decided to come back to his quarterback, make himself available because he had a cushion, and it nets yet another first down.
Yeah, Evans had pressure again and did a wise job of pulling it down and stepping up into the pocket to create and then find his receiver open for plus yardage.
17 yards on that pickup. It pops free again for Langer. This has got to be somewhat concerning for Oklahoma, the ground yardage being given up in their interior alignment.
So this is just one of the great challenges of trying to defend the spread and defending both aspects of the game. If you got 4 wide or 5 wide, Timmy, you've got a numbers disadvantage between tackle to tackle. So they're going to have between 5 and 6 to block your 4 or possibly 5. So again, it's just a numbers game. Just a numbers game.
Yeah, well, the numbers are adding up for Langer. 17 carries, 103 yards. 2nd and 1. But you're right. All things considered, Mike Stoops' defense has really acquitted itself quite nicely so far this year. It's
take a quick peek at this, Timmy. If you look between there and count the number of players on TU.
There is no 10.
Timeout's being taken here by Tulsa, we're told. There's Mike up in the booth.
Yeah, Mike's done a great job of adjusting. He's admittedly had to make some adjustments and told us yesterday quite candidly that he thinks they've been good adjustments that he's had to make. One of them is getting up in the booth and maybe having a different perspective than he's used to down on the field with players, and so far it has served him well.
He's very satisfied with the communication in that secondary. The new defensive backs coach, Kerry Cooks, has joined this staff along with Dyron Reynolds, who's working with the defensive line, and really that's what it's about. It's about communication. By the way, going back to my hometown's bowl game, it all started, when you think about it, for the Stoops era.
2000.
1999, yeah. 2000. They came into my hometown to play in the Independence Bowl, got that opportunity, lost the game to Ole Miss. Then after they left, they went on a streak of 20 consecutive wins after the Millennium.
I remember that Deuce McAllister put a number on him, but Bob Stoops put pressure on the world after winning in such a short period of time a national title.
Langer. Further proof, by the way, that all great things happen once you've come to my hometown.
And once you go to the Independence Bowl that following year, expect to win a national title.
Play fake. Evans throws. He's got it in the end zone. Lucas, touchdown. What a big throw that was. 28 yards. Two fourth-down conversions that Tulsa botched. One was a blocked field goal. One they just came up short. Oklahoma gave themselves a 3-touchdown lead. Since then, the Sooners have turned it over a couple of times, and the Golden Hurricane each time have converted for touchdowns.
Prior to that play, it was 720 yards combined for both teams. They're putting up the numbers big time, Tim.
Well, Lucas had been quieted by the Oklahoma defense early. In fact, he only had 2 catches for 12 yards before that. But that was a marvelous step up and throw by Evans.
Well, you can see here the back coverage, the zone read brings up the underneath coverage, and Evans, it wasn't the greatest thrown ball, but I'll tell you what, it was pretty much on the mark, and defending it was our old buddy here.
Stephen Parker got caught in coverage there with him, and he took advantage. That was huge for this Tulsa team before the break, to get the opportunity and take advantage of it.
Stephen Parker had pretty decent coverage there, but that ball was so well thrown, Tim, that it would be almost impossible. The only way you defend that better is to be able to take a peek back in man coverage, and the great corners are able to do that at some point in time during the route, is to be able to identify man coverage.
All right, let's listen. Oklahoma's ahead by 2 touchdowns, okay? I'll give you that. But those 2 fumbles led to 2 touchdowns for Tulsa when Oklahoma was going in. In effect, we're talking about a 28-point swing in the first half of this game.
Yeah, and it also makes it very difficult to become excited about what you're doing offensively when you're turning the ball over that way. You want to get out of here with some momentum. Again, we talked about steady progress. Both Mike, Bob Stoops, Lincoln Riley all indicated the same thing. It's like they were in the same place.
Look at this.
Onside.
Well, why not? It's the end of the half, and it looks like they got it, and they did. Tulsa's got the ball with 9 seconds left. McKinley Whitfield, 21, comes away with it. Outstanding execution. The Sooners didn't see that coming at all.
Well, there's ebb and flow in the course of every game, and there's nothing that'll turn it over quicker than, of course, a turnover. But here, again, a poor job on the execution in terms of defense. You being able to attack that ball for the Sooners. They've got to do a much, much better job of identifying the fact that it is an onside kick and then executing the technique to recover.
Boy, Grant, the reserve running back, was backing up. He was on his heels as the onsides came, affected beautifully by Soper, the kicker. And there was no denying that Whitfield would get to it. It was actually pretty easy. So now with the ball at the 43, 2 cracks at it for Tulsa here. What do you expect? Obviously, they've got a shot at 2 plays.
I think you take a shot. Timmy, you got 9 seconds. You can actually get 3 plays off at 9 seconds with this offense if it's incomplete.
Well, he's going deep. He's going for it all right here. Hail Mary time. He's got it in the corner of the end zone. It's Kearis Garrett. Can you believe it?
That's exactly how you draw it up. All 6'4", 221 pounds of him. That's the right man you want to go to. Tulsa Golden Hurricane has changed the script in this contest, Timmy, with big explosive plays as we approach the half. Taking a page from BYU over the last couple of weeks, man.
Yes, indeed. They've won 2 that way. Garrett now, by the way, 11 catches, 156 yards, and now a touchdown. They may be reviewing it. They review every touchdown, of course. But again, that ball was put in a position, frankly, where no one but a Golden Hurricane was going to come down with it.
One receiver is going to be just in front of the line, Garrett at 88, and then the back end, when you go up and catch that ball at his highest point, you don't script it any better than that. Evans in the execution, Garrett, fantastic job. Total yards today, 866 between them. Tulsa's got 397 of that. OU 466. You talk about a track meet, that's impressive.
He did slightly, watch his arms, he did slightly create right here, Spencer, just a little bit of space, but certainly not enough to bring on a flag. And he used his length, his incredible length at 6'4", 220. And the young man from Dangerfield, Texas, made it count.
Well, you know, if he didn't feel like he had a clean shot at it, the way that play is scripted up, it's to bat it back, and you'll go back and you can see exactly how it played out. You had a Golden Hurricane guy sitting right there at the end line ready to catch it if it came back in. That's the execution part that made that play beautiful.
The throw was put in a position where a defender really couldn't bat it back.
Yeah.
I mean, it was full extension.
I'm speaking in terms of the receiver himself. If he felt like he couldn't, he could have batted it back to his guy at the end line, and that's where you coach it up. 3 by, you send 2, 1 to the corner, 1 to his right, and then you leave the 3rd receiver at the end line so he can catch the deflected pass if it's batted back to him.
Philip Montgomery told us when we chatted with him just a couple of days ago, he said, I was blown away by how much Dane Evans embraced and understood what it was our offense was about. I mean, Bill Blankenship, former Tulsa quarterback himself, the man that had been coaching there and now is, I believe, over on Fuente's staff at Memphis, ran a completely different style of defense, an offense. It is a touchdown, no question. But to have a young man like Evans to turn to and a veteran quarterback to embrace this offense has made Tulsa perhaps a little ahead of schedule in Montgomery's first year.
I think anytime you can spread and anytime you have a solid running game and you've got receivers who can go up and catch the ball like this tandem can, Garrett and Lucas, you're going to have a chance to stay in games. And remember, this game last year was one-sided, Tim.
Oh, yeah.
Not so much now.
Well, we should mention that Tulsa's had good years for many years with many different coaches. Todd Graham had Gus Malzahn in there for a period of time, as people recall. Then Coach Blankenship had a Conference USA divisional championship.
Remember,
here it is
Steve
again.
Craigthorpe back in the day was there too. So here's the guy that ultimately is going to come back in the end line. Number 88 lagging back, just in case one of these two can't. His job is to stand there on the end line. Not needed in that case. Garrett went up with that finely thrown ball by Evans. Did a fine job. This is his job, to stand there on the end line in case the ball comes back. But again, great effort by the quarterback, Evans.
Ahmad Thomas is there, but he's not in a position to make a play on the ball. That's the length and the width of the field with a Hail Mary that's thrown perfectly.
Well, again, it's all about execution. And again, it's cliche. They talk about it being a game of inches, but that's what it comes down to in plays like that, Tim.
And this is a team that, frankly, was on the ropes at 24-3 with Oklahoma going in, and Pirine put the ball on the ground. And then came a 92-yard drive to answer, only to have the Sooners reclaim a 3-touchdown lead. But Mixon turned it over. Also a penalty on Shepard that thwarted a drive that Oklahoma had perhaps going in. And now suddenly we got a game.
Let's see how they handle this now.
They do squib it. Certainly don't want to run back here if you can keep from it. It's Alex Ross picking it up, and he's down immediately. And we've come to halftime. How much more entertainment do you want? Doesn't get much better than this. It's halftime. And right now, let's send you back to Rob Stone in Los Angeles. Rob. Fox Sports 1 College Football is presented by Geico. Gaylord's Family Memorial Stadium here at Owen Field. Oklahoma's lead, only 7, 31-24 here at the break. Alongside Spencer Tillman, Bruce Feldman down on the sidelines. How about a 28-point swing off costly turnovers by OU with fumbles?
Well, it was clearly self-induced. I mean, Oklahoma put it on a plate for him, and the Golden Hurricane turned this second half into a Category 5 storm, and they came back. Some R.J. Pirine put it on the ground. Quickly points Evans, finds his receiver in the end zone for the touchdown. And again, Oklahoma's running backs having a very difficult time with ball security. Mixon this time gives it up. Evans makes him pay for it with a dart in the end zone for another score. And then the failure to execute on one of the greatest plays, I believe, in all of college football, the onside kick. You got to be aware of it. Tulsa knows who they are. They converted, acting again in the end zone for the touchdown. That was a tremendous job by the Golden Hurricane of Tulsa responding to mistakes on the part of the Oklahoma Sooners.
Dane Evans has proven that he can throw the rock with anybody. And Bob Stoops has got to be concerned with the way that half ended. Granted, they did a lot of good things offensively. They're without one of their top corners, and they were victimized by those outstanding receivers. Not just the two that you've heard about, not just the tandem, but Josh Atkinson also lit it up in the opening half. Together, these teams combined for 863 total yards of offense. That's the most, folks, in college football since November 29th, 2013, when Fresno State and San Jose got together for 1,002 yards and a half. Kick is to Alex Ross at the 4. He's down at the 25-yard line, and let's get the latest from Bruce Feldman at halftime.
Tim, I just spoke to Bob Stoops, and I said, what do you got to do to slow this Tulsa offense down? He goes, the first thing we got to do is get lined up. He goes, then we got to start making some plays. He was very, very frustrated, as you might expect.
Yeah, and when you give up a Hail Mary to close a half, that's particularly problematic. And we saw a couple of times there where Tulsa was not only getting there before OU got lined up, but before the chains got set.
Yeah, Bruce was all over that, and that synopsis is exactly what Oklahoma struggled with in the first half, defensively anyway, getting in the position to make plays.
Samaje Perine, the lone setback, opening play, third quarter. Perine breaks free. Out ahead for a first down. Mudo makes the stop. By the way, you know, when you think about what Philip Montgomery decided to do with that onside kick, he knew he had to kick off to open this half. So why not just gamble and go onsides and then throw up a Hail Mary to see what happens? And it came up roses for him.
Well, Oklahoma's not gambling. They're going to establish their identity and run the football here in the second half. A slight adjustment on the tackles with their blocking schemes. They're going to try to identify themselves.
Trent Martin hauls down Pirine.
And it's the strength of Pirine that's on display here. Watch again, that left arm free, the ball secure, perhaps could be a little bit higher and tighter, but watch him break through those arm tackles. So RJ Pirine is a stout guy at 5'10", 231 pounds. It's not going to stop him with just one arm.
2nd and 8. Here comes pressure from the inside. Wide receiver screen to D.D. Westbrook. And he gets to the 45-yard line. Well, the Sooners have been outstanding in the second half. Look at that. Outscoring their opponents 38-0.
Well, every team has an identity, and what you look for in situations like this is, can you follow that script again? You would expect nothing less than that, and if it is less and they're less productive in the second half, they've got bigger issues. Trips formation to the right, inside slot receiver unless they intend to run it one more time. Nice.
Mayfield. Markers down, thrown in an area where holding could be the call, and there's Mayfield going out of bounds at about the 47-yard line, but we'll check the flag.
One of the rare cases where you saw Mayfield actually take his eyes off of downfield, and that was as a result of Tulsa's pressure that they put up front with their 4-man rush. Great job by the Hurricane.
One of the things that you notice, here's the call.
Offense 63. That penalty is declined. It brings up 4th down.
Alex Dalton, the guilty party there. Remember, this is a offense that's without its center. Ty Darlington injured a knee last week against Tennessee, so Jonathan Alvarez moved over from guard to center. Farniok, who is a backup tackle, moved into the left guard spot. Casatati, the redshirt senior, starting over on the right side, and Dalton has become sort of a swing guy today for Oklahoma.
It must be contagious. Tulsa having a tough time getting their personnel on the field.
Yep, because they declined the penalty. They wanted to force a 4th down, and I think there was a mix-up from Tulsa from a team standpoint, and they were forced to call a timeout. In a close game, that could come back to haunt them. We'll be right back. This extraordinarily exciting game on Fox Sports 1 is presented by Geico. Tim Brando, Spencer Tillman, Bruce Feldman, happy to have you with us. And on 4th down after the timeout, the boot by Seibert to Connor Floyd, nestles in his arms after the fair catch at the 13-yard line. That's where Tulsa will take over with a chance to tie this game after the 37-yard boot and no return. If you think about it, Philip Montgomery, if you'd said to him midway 2nd quarter, you could have this game tied by midway in the 3rd, given a 21-point deficit, I think he would have taken it.
Yeah, but in talking to Tim this week, and you're right about that, Tim, but you got the sense that he felt with the success he had at Baylor and the surprise fact that he's got great, talented guys. When you look at the numbers of Daines, they're 4 or 5, 98 yards, 2 TDs, just the last 2 drives. That confidence shows up every single time.
Langer and to the 15-yard line. Matt Diamond.
And that confidence is contagious. And again, the longer they stay in this contest, the more emboldened they're going to become.
20 carries, 116 yards for him. That's the pattern that's been there for Kieris Garrett. That time a bit overthrown as they continue to challenge Zach Sanchez in coverage. He had a step too.
Yeah, he had a step, and again they continue to challenge Sanchez over that. This is a top flight corner, one that Mike Stoops told us yesterday is the leader back there on the back end, and what from the jump they have been attacking him and relentlessly. Sanchez under duress.
Supremely confident this Tulsa offense. 3rd and 8 doesn't seem like a lot, but it might be more than that. if we have a false start. I think we do.
False start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Well, they're going to give it to the center, Chandler Miller this time, the redshirt freshman. He's handled the chores well. That's a tough task to play the center position as a redshirt freshman. As I mentioned earlier, Jonathan Alvarez on the other side pressed into duty because of the injury to Ty Darlington for Oklahoma.
Well, in this system, he's also not just snapping the ball, which is tough enough, but he's also making the line calls as they slide protect and do it so with a way to handle a striker out there, number 19.
We'll have to be careful here now on 3rd and 13.
Summers don't look like they're bringing pressure. This is like a 4-man front.
Going long, streaking down the sidelines. Atkinson, there's a bump, but it's going to be called. Yep. It's going to go against Mbanassor. It was clear he got bumped. It's interesting. It was the back judge that called it, coming from the hash mark closest to us. But I think it's an accurate call.
Defense, number 2.
You know, what's interesting is after a penalty, just a 4-man or 3-man rush on that particular play gets behind the coverage and again goes up and just.
Hey, that's a smart move by the receiver.
He's slowing down
That's a smart
to induce the engagement and the contact.
That's just a veteran move by Josh Atkinson. And Mbanassor is arguing incidental contact, but he got duped by an upperclassman that time. And it's a big-time first down to keep the drive alive for Tulsa. Evans on the run, floats it out there. Incomplete for Atkinson, and Mbanassor was covering.
Evans showing you some impromptu skills, doing his best Baker Mayfield impersonation, pulling it down due to the coverage and coming back the other way. It's tough to make that throw with your shoulders not square, but Evans does as good a job as he possibly could there. Mbanassor with excellent coverage there.
2nd and 10. Zach Langer over 100 yards with a lot of time remaining in the first half. He has been toting it today. Jordan Evans made the stop. Gets ahead for about 3. 3rd down, 7 coming up.
Jordan Evans with an excellent job at 6'2", 239. Very athletic in that inside linebacker position, shedding off a would-be blocker to fold underneath her and save what would have been a big gainer.
Evans swings it out to Langer. That's a first down and then some. You know, they're using sometimes those receivers and those quick slants and crosses, and then they can kind of flood that area, Spencer, as they did there to create the safety valve. Langer.
Well, that time it was Dominic Alexander, number 1, the inside linebacker, that got picked on that play, Timmy. He couldn't get over and cover.
Wide receiver screen to Atkinson. He's ahead for 8 or 9.
There you see the weight advantage there, and Atkinson low on his shoulder. Low man typically wins that battle, including wide receivers. We usually associate that with running backs, but the receivers are doing the heavy lifting on this drive.
2nd and 3. What was that statement you had in your 3 things we needed to know? Tempo against better athletes.
That's right.
That's what we're seeing right here.
That's right. Can you engage tempo against superior athletes? When I say superior, that's no knock to the Golden Hurricane, but let's face it. You know, Tennessee posed a significant threat, but they had a dual threat quarterback, but not outstanding wide receivers. Now you're facing cover guys that are elite cover guys.
3rd and short. Langer stops short. Nothing doing. And how many times at about this place on the field has Philip Montgomery had a decision to make on 4th and 2 or 4th and 2.5?
Jordan Evans came in there and blow that play up, and you can see him again. Watch him work inside here and come in and get his nose dirty. Puts it right, the hat on, and Jordan Evans. All 6'2", 239 pounds of that junior man coming to the meeting.
that is all leverage right there. Sterling Shepard is back deep. It is 4th down and a little more than 2, and Dalton Parks will boot it away. Junior from Kansas City. Beautiful Stacy High School. the home of Parks. Sooners will have it after the 34-yard boot when we come back. Back to the future. The air raid with better athletes can be awfully productive. Oklahoma with the ball and the lead early third quarter. It's a full day. Here's Geico continues its coverage on FS1. Texas San Antonio UTSA taking on 25th ranked Oklahoma State. Then it's Cal Texas on Fox, our nightcap. BYU UCLA right here on FS1. The home for college football. Beautiful lead. Yeah, again, Mayfield has been so solid through the course of the day. Gets it out to the 29 in the arms of Osiabu, number 20, senior from Grand Prairie, Texas, making the stop.
Timmy, ultimately, if it's the olden days, Jamel Holloway, J.C. Watts, that mesh ride point is beautiful. Mayfield did a great job of pulling it out of the belly at the last minute and keeping it himself for a nice game.
2nd and 3. Blitz coming, Mayfield rolling. Little ad-lib job between he and Shepard. Incomplete. Kerwin Thomas was over there.
Yeah, Kerwin Thomas got turned around a little bit, and Mayfield wanted to direct Shepard up the field, which is what he's supposed to do when he runs out of real estate.
I think he may have gotten a little jersey, too.
Yeah, he did get a little jersey.
Yes, he did. Sterling wanted the call, but it didn't come. 3rd down 3. They allow a little more jousting in the college game. That's why from time to time those what appear to be incidental hits, people don't feel warrant flags, as was the case a little earlier on the Oklahoma side. Quick out pattern to Shepard. That's a 1st down. Knocked out of bounds immediately at the 34-yard line. We'll mark at the 35.
Kerwin Thomas coming over there in coverage late on that, and it's a nice throw by Baker Mayfield, and you had the opportunity to go up top, but again Thomas broke on that one right as the ball was delivered, so the go route was not in vogue on that one.
Mixon stumbles forward to the 37. Let's now head back to the studio in Los Angeles. Jenny Tapp for this Carl's Jr. Hardee's game break.
Well, Tim, number 23 Northwestern trailed Duke at halftime, but how about the opening kickoff in the second as sophomore Solomon Volt sees the opening, takes it home for the 98-yard return for the TD. The Wildcats now up 12-7, Tim.
That's a fantastic matchup of two outstanding programs academically. Joe Mixon out ahead for a 1st down to the 46-yard line. Yeah, David, what a job he's done at Duke, and Fitzgerald's coming away with that big win early against Stanford. They believe that they can be bowl bound again, as they were 7 consecutive years before a 4-8 campaign a season ago. 1st down 10, Oklahoma. Mayfield with all kinds of time. A.D. Miller makes the catch at the 42-yard line.
Took a while to develop, and if that's the case, typically it's protection that makes it happen. There you see it. There's the shell, the play action, just a 4-man rush. Linebacker comes up to spy and contest it. Mayfield makes him pay for it with a laser shot for the completion.
It's been a 1st down fest today. 24 now for Oklahoma.
Nice patience.
By that you mean Mixon waiting for his block and his avenue to open up. Frankie Davis with the tackle.
You're absolutely right, Tim, and it wasn't quite a smoke through a keyhole move, but he waited patiently and sifted back underneath where the least resistance was to get an extra 2 yards.
348 yards passing, 80 rushing for Mayfield. That's a day's work in 2.5 quarters. Mixon the lone setback. Deron Neal reels it in just inside the 30. That was a tough pass thrown a little behind him, and he was going to get popped, and he was by Kerwin Thomas, number 2.
It was trips right into the boundary here again. That's the route he's going to look on the out cut. Excellent job of navigating with the little space outside that hash. That's tough navigating in that contracted area.
So from the 24, it's 1st and 10. Oklahoma's only really stopped themselves of late when they've had these drives with fumbles. There have been many stops by Tulsa's defense, and here's Baxter. Touchdown!
Love the play selection on that one. Beating Jordan Mitchell on that play, coming back to the wide side of the field. This is what the matchups are all about. Getting the ball to Baxter and other great elite athletes in space, trying to make a play, winning the one-on-one matchups.
Seibert's extra point makes it a 14-point game. In that drive, they found A.D. Miller once. They found Baxter once. And they're once again in the end zone. Oh, the Baker did it again. We'll be back. Huddle up with college football experts and live web chats all season long. A new guest is every week. The Edward Jones College Football Huddle on foxsports.com. Stuart Mandel and his friend and colleague Bruce Feldman with us today. Very busy with that. All of the work that they do as insiders following this great game. Tulsa now trailing by 2 touchdowns as the Sooners get back in on the touchdown pass of 29 yards to Baker. Hodgson will kick it away. Bishop Louis back deep for the Golden Hurricane. 100th consecutive sellout at this stadium today. Louis from the end zone. Stopped at the 20-yard line. And while Baxter may have been the recipient of the touchdown, he didn't get as many high fives as someone else down on the sidelines. Bruce Feldman.
That's right, Tim. D.D. Westbrook, the little 168-pound speedster, when he got to the sideline, all his teammates were mobbing him and the coaches because he was the guy who had the block downfield who helped him get into the end zone. That's the second big play that D.D. Westbrook's blocking has really enabled to become an even bigger play.
Well, you got to be able to do that.
That's what you call complimentary football. You know you'll have an opportunity to have him block for you at one point in time, and you can always, in that jocular kind of way, Timmy, tell your battery mate, hey, do it for me, man.
Consummate team game. Langer. Head for 2, maybe 3. Charles Walker, 97. The redshirt sophomore, 6'2", 297. He's been very productive this year. Mike Stoops could not stop talking about his development, what he's become, how much he's meant to this team. He and Devontae Bond particularly. This pass is intended for Garrett and reels it in at the 28-yard line, but again shy of the first down. So 3rd down coming up. Connor Floyd checks into the game.
Tulsa trying to get a 3-by alignment here. Straight man coverage with a single safety high, Tim. You can run it on this or pass. It's a great option for him.
They've got the field spread.
Nice.
There's a perfect quick slant to Atkinson. And that is, they've been feasting on that all day today.
They really have, and most of it's because the Sooners have been in a bit of a retreat mode, playing off coverage and not a press concept. You can sneak in and take a peek to find out what the quarterback is doing on those quick routes.
On 3rd and 10. Quick out, streaking down the sidelines. The pass is caught. Justin Hobbs, 29 on the receiving end.
Once again, putting stress on Dominique Alexander to get out there at his inside linebacker position. Hurricane up-tempo, Tim.
He remains in the game. Hobbs up at the top of your screen. Evans under pressure, has to unload. Well, that Floyd saved an interception. Absolutely saved an interception. We've got a marker down. Parker was in position to pick that off.
Devontae Bond was there too.
I believe we're going to get roughing the passer here.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 23 of the defense. Throw to the head, 15 yards from the previous spot, automatic first down.
Devontae Byrd.
Number 23, Devontae Bond coming off the edge there. 6'1", 238-pound senior putting pressure, man.
I don't know.
I don't know if we agree with that one, but
I mean, it looked a little worse than it really was. A nice acting job by Evans inducing the flag. I'm with you, Spencer. I didn't like that call. 1st and 10 with the ball at the 28. Again, they go wide receiver screen to Atkinson. That's like an automatic 5 or 6 anytime they can run that little play or the quick slant to him, and it's there. And Bonassor and Dominic Alexander collaborate on the stop.
I can tell you, Philip Montgomery is absolutely fearless. Now that Sooners have moved out of it, a straight pure man on the boundary by the numbers rather to the field. That last play, they had a safety over the top and still threw it for the same time, outnumbered by one man.
Going fade for Floyd. And just more, you know, Evans would love to have that one back. He overshot it just a bit, intended for Floyd, and he had 2 steps on Ahmad Thomas.
Ahmad Thomas is a big, strong, strapping guy back there at strong safety.
He got a hand on him, and it slowed him down just a little, just enough for the incompletion. 3rd and 6.
I think the thing that's concerning with Thomas, for example, you've got a junior back there, and again, they were relatively young last year, but the year more experience, you don't expect that to happen, Timmy.
There it is, the safety valve. Langer takes it right into the teeth of that secondary. Hatari Bird shoves him out of bounds. Another 1st down, 11-yard gain.
Well, Atkinson is going to come open there, but the patience to allow that route to develop was really good, and Evans demonstrated his leadership on that play.
Slant again. It's there every time. In front of Bonassor, Josh Atkinson gets it ahead to the 7-yard line.
Josh not quite as big, but you know, at 6'2", 208 pounds, he can get his body between it if it's on the point and it's put on the numbers. I don't care who you got covering. There's nobody in between the ball and the jersey. It's going to be a completion more often than not.
Langer. Did he get in?
Yeah, he did.
I think he may have gotten in. They're going to mark him just shy, it appears, about a half yard away. The extra effort almost got him into the end zone.
Well, Devontae Bond was on for a ride there, man. He was going in, and maybe he had a knee down, but from the perspective I was looking at it,
it was close. Yeah, it was close. 1st and goal. Langer again. Touchdown.
Hello.
That was a strong Golden Hurricane drive right there.
I feel the wind picking up a little bit, Timmy.
First points given up by the Oklahoma defense in the 2nd half this year. And rest assured, Tulsa will have plenty of 2nd half points themselves the rest of this season. The American Athletic Conference can be awfully proud of the performance of one of their teams today. Hanging tough. Baylor Light, huh? Playing with the heavy hitters today. 10 plays, 79 yards, 2 minutes, 46 seconds off the clock, and Langer takes it in. As you look at the quarterback comparison, and Dane Evans is saying, yeah, Baker Mayfield, yeah, I can play with you guys. Absolutely.
I mean, the difference is negligible. And again, I think what that speaks to is the competency of the quarterback, but also where we are in the landscape of college football, the system. This is basically Baylor with different athletes.
Sure it is.
And as it turns out, a couple of these wide receivers are elite.
And the other thing that comes with it is it puts the defensive coordinators in a dilemma to go primarily with nickel coverage as their base defense, which in effect has put one of the best defensive players, Eric Stryker, as a non-factor in this game.
Great observation, Tim. It makes a big difference if you can't have your best athletes on the field.
Ross with the return. Right ahead of the 28-yard line. Well, sophomore Samaje Perine already has one NCAA record. A year ago against Kansas, he rushed for 427 yards, breaking Melvin Gordon's one-week-old single-game record. In addition to his 427, he found the end zone 5 times on a rainy day.
Well, they came out here this second half, did the Sooners, trying to establish that run game. We'll see as Joe Washington gives them a hug there if they give a chance to continue to establish it or try to stick with this offense wide open and air it out a little bit more.
I remember Joe on a rainy night in New England having a similar kind of game for the Colts back in the day. Mayfield, his maneuverability is an ally, but that time Trent Martin was able to make the shoelace tackle at the 25-yard line.
And that was the adjustment made in the second half. Martin down out of that linebacker position, playing more like a spy technique, and number 40 just wraps him up that way. That's his sole responsibility on a broken play. Just don't let Baker Mayfield hurt you downfield with his legs.
Second down and 11. That's the third sack given up by Oklahoma. Mayfield. With room, that's Deron Neal for a first down. Out ahead to the 38-yard line. Kerwin Thomas making the stop. You got to give him some room. All those guys can get past you. Bill Young, the defensive coordinator, just trying to keep the Sooners in front of his defense. Bubble screen to Neal. What did I say about staying in front? He almost got behind them off that quick wide receiver screen.
Yeah, a lot of bodies in that narrow space over there. The picks naturally occur, and if you can get open and get a one-on-one matchup, you can break a few.
Colton Schindler saved the touchdown, 85 for Tulsa.
Twin into the boundaries again, another opportunity. See if they come to the wide side of the field though this time.
Looking at the 46, yep, they do, and a cutback by P. Ryan. To the 42-yard line, Derek Lutjen, 99, one of the leaders of this team. 117 tackles for loss in his incredible career. 27th start in 40 games played for number 99. Second down and 8. Mixon and Daniel Brooks now in the backfield. D.D. Westbrook, first down. Crowd responding to the tackle that was made by Roderick Umblance, thinking that perhaps that should not have happened with the ball out of play. Sometimes the defenders are really unaware of where they are on the field. He quickly hustles out of there.
Yeah. Westbrook doing a fine job of catching the ball and getting yardage after the catch. 5 catches, 81 yards for Westbrook so far. He's a very mature kid out of Blinn College. Cam Newton came before he went to Auburn.
Little sit-down curl to Joe Mixon to the 19-yard line of Tulsa.
You know, I like to see them do something with Mixon where they can get the ball in his hands on the move, even as opposed to a check down.
Mayfield. Like having an extra option when you've got a quarterback that can maneuver like that. Martin and Schindler combine on the stop. But it does net a first down. '30th first down for Oklahoma. Stretch. P. Ryan takes it to the 17, maybe the 16-yard line.
You know, Tim, there's a narrative that's kind of emerging here. And again, it's the difficulty of trying to take two disparate systems, a 4-wide spread or an air raid versus the run-heavy approach that this offense was last year. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the Sooners are really struggling with here today.
Well, it's part of the transition that you have to make when you've got personnel for one offense and you bring in another. Second and 8. Oh, look out. Mayfield. Look at him create space. What a pass. That's Andrews. That's a touchdown.
It was a Johnny Manziel-esque effort on that particular play to find him in the end zone. And in a Johnny Manziel kind of manner, he turned his back before he actually entered the end zone. That's a little bit of gravitas and a little hubris there by Mayfield. But boy, it sure is exciting 457 yards, 4 TDs, 26 of 31. Baker Mayfield, outstanding.
Yeah, listen, you can have a little of it if you're this good.
Watch him pull it down, Timmy. Finds trouble. Scandals get out of there. Squares his shoulder up and delivers a strike for the score. Tim Brando, he looks like a candidate.
45-31 our score. Oklahoma by 2 touchdowns. And, you know, I had the good fortune of getting to call Johnny Football's last game at home at College Station. You made the comparison. You brought it up a moment ago. There you see the numbers this season for Baker Mayfield. Listen, you know, we can all get caught up in that. That was a moment. That play looked very similar, as was the case in the touchdown pass to P. Ryan in Knoxville last week. They got to within a touchdown on a great ad-lib job and a maneuver in creating space by Mayfield to Samaje P. Ryan as a receiver, as Bishop takes it ahead on the kick, just shy of the 30-yard line, and that's where Tulsa takes over.
Tim, here's why he's so dangerous. I had a conversation with Kevin Sumlin recently. We're talking about when you get in that restricted space, for most quarterbacks, the options are reduced. But when you have a guy that can have great improvisational skills like Baker Mayfield or like a Heisman Trophy candidate Johnny Manziel, it actually expands the options and it breaks down the defensive coverage. So it becomes even more of a playground for a guy who has that kind of athleticism.
Langer, the lone setback. Play fake and another deep ball streaking down the sidelines for Atkinson, incomplete. I made mention a moment ago of Eric Stryker really being negated to some extent by nickel coverage becoming the base defense of Oklahoma. Is that something Mike Stoops addressed with us yesterday? And that is a real dilemma. And fans, you may love Stryker, and certainly the coaches do, but when you play a certain defense, it can eliminate the impact of a player like Stryker.
That's right. We'll unpack a little bit of that in a second, Tim. There's a reason for it.
Langer, tough run. Past the 40, that's a first down. Stryker makes the stop, a 13-yard pickup as we come towards the end of the quarter.
You need a presence of Stryker on a play like that where it's tough yardage inside, but the matchup problem becomes when you need him in coverage.
There goes Evans, and he slides down shy of the 50 with 11 seconds remaining in the third quarter. I mean, basically what it's done is it's meant Stryker can play on first down, and that's about it. Langer off a 13-yard run a moment ago, stopped at the line of scrimmage. Understanding the subtleties of what formation can do to impact the game. That's what we have today. The game's changed. Everybody's got to adjust. Coaches, players, even announce crews. We'll be right back. Fox Sports 1 College Football is presented by Geico. A game much closer than a few of the faithful would have thought, but Tulsa's got the ball with a chance to, again, make it a one-score game, Spencer.
Yeah, Oklahoma's almost at a bit of a disadvantage because they can't get their best player, Eric Stryker, on the field in those offensive scenarios. Again, it's rare when you can say your best player is a liability, Tim, and that's for about 37 to 40% of the plays. That's been the case because it's been 4 by, 5 wide.
Well, he's in there now on 3rd and 4, but you're right, and it's something that Mike Stoops and I, well, we all talked about. As you see that quick slant, it's been money all day for Josh Atkinson. Nets yet another first down.
You know, most folk, when they look at it, they say, well, how can not having Eric Stryker out there hurt you? Well, he's bigger. They need hybrid players who are more athletic to cover slot receivers.
So off that first down, they're 28th of the game. They go to Kearis Garrett on the quick wide receiver screen. He's ahead for 3 in the arms of Zach Sanchez.
As we've talked about, Tim, this is a game of matchups these days. And again, whether you're the Philip Montgomery or you're Lincoln Riley, you're looking in real time at where can I exploit the offense, or the defense in this case, from play to play. And it may change.
Play fake to Langer, looking long. That's Garrett. Kearis Garrett with a flag down. Has it at the 5-yard line of Oklahoma. Could it be offensive pass interference? That's the preliminary indication.
Offense, number 1.
Yep.
15 yards from the previous spot.
Well, I think what it does underscore is the fact that, number one, feels like he's as entitled the ball as Sanchez is on this, and they've come after him from the first snap, Timmy. I don't know about that, man.
I did not see that. No, that's a phantom. Well, there it is.
There's a little push off. There's a little bit of a push off
angle,
there, so there's no question
that's a
about
good call. That review, that look, the second look, I will say that, yes, that was a good call. At first glance, it looked like a possible fan. That's why we need the extra angles from time to time. 2nd and 22. Nice job by our crew. That was a giant call, too, when you think about it. Very influential in this game. 2nd and 22. Out pattern to Connor Floyd. Wrapped up immediately by Parker. He's been very active today. You know it means a lot to him. He's from Tulsa.
That's an NFL-type throw to the field. Yeah, it's a lot of water to cover for Evans.
3rd and 19. Garrett and Kevin Lucas flank to the top of your screen. Atkinson to the bottom.
A lot of cushion for these receivers.
And they go Langer on the delay. And he gets it to the 49-yard line. Still about 13 yards shy of a first down. Dominic Alexander with the stop.
Well, the soft coverage that the Sooners are giving this Golden Hurricane lineup is really intriguing to me. It's going to give you the opportunity not to get beat deep, but you're going to get gashed. And maybe this speaks to the point of what Mike was talking about yesterday. We almost have to get to the point where we have to redefine what constitutes good defense anymore. So,
you know, I hear it from fans all the time. How can they be that good? They gave up 475 yards of offense. Well,
that's a new normal, man. It's the new normal.
Absolutely. It's like a quarterback throwing for 300 used to be a big deal. No more. It's got to be 450 approaching 5 for it to be that big of a deal. Sterling Shepard with the fair catch. So the Sooners standing up and gathering momentum against the Golden Hurricane with 12 and a half left. 45-31. Oklahoma with the lead. And Spencer, who do you have in your Nissan Heisman watch for this week?
Well, don't hurt me, partner, but I'm affinity for the running backs, and I like Derrick Henry. And he's a scoring machine. He's got 6 touchdowns already. And the beautiful thing I like about what Nick is doing with him, he's preserving him down the stretch. I think Cody Kessler in the end, because of the strong supporting cast he has, ultimately is going to work his way back up in there.
I think he could have gone with a 4th and added Leonard Fournette, but he's only played 1 game.
One-dimensional team.
Yeah, you're right. But that means he's got to do more than maybe Derrick Henry does to get his yards. Perine and Mixon in the backfield. Mayfield's toss is caught underneath to Mixon. Bruce, what do you make of his Heisman choices there?
I'm with him. I actually would have Derrick Henry on top of mine because the first week they played a good Wisconsin defense that loaded the box, and he averaged like 11 yards a carry against them. So far, so good. We haven't seen Nick Chubb play anybody yet. Running backs taking the lead, but keep an eye on Myles Garrett. He looked awesome the first week.
Something to think about with 12 and counting left in this game. Could be seeing a record-setting performance here by Mayfield as he gets it to Mixon. In case you're wondering, most passing yards in a game set by, oh, by the way, a Mike Leach quarterback, Connor Halliday of Washington State, 734 back on October the 4th of 2014. And Leach's protege, Lincoln Riley, may be setting up Baker Mayfield for a run at that number before the day is done. He's got 462 now. Third and 5. Beautiful pass. That was just absolutely perfect to Sterling Shepard. Out of bounds and another first down.
Big time throw to the field there by Mayfield, and Shepard grabbed it with his hands and does exactly what you're supposed to do. Catches it, turns his shoulder, tries to get upfield. Sideline didn't give him any extra.
Look at that. That's efficiency, isn't it? 30 for 35, 470. Wide receiver screen. Well diagnosed by Tulsa. Deron Neal bringing it in. Matt Linscott, who's easily been the most valuable defender for the Golden Hurricane today. making the stop.
Lynn Scott has been everywhere. He moved and converted from that linebacker position down to safety, and one of the reasons why he does that, and they have him there, because he's so athletic. This guy is everywhere, making plays inside from tackle to tackle, and even on the perimeter, in that case in the slot on the edges.
Loss of 5, 2nd and 15. Little shovel pass. Well, he's completed everything else. Why not one like that? Mixon ahead to the 28-yard line. The original line of scrimmage. Lynn Scott again with the stop.
Oklahoma picked well on that play, and sometimes it's guessing, you get lucky, but Tulsa, as they've been one to do today, had a little games and deals with their inside linebackers working, and of course they pitched it right away from the teeth of that stunt.
It's a big 3rd down for the Tulsa defense. They need to give the ball back to their offense soon. Mayfield tries to do it on his own. He's wrapped up at the 31-yard line. Frankie Davis with the stop. So it's 4th down and a punt formation coming for the Sooners.
Well, big Frankie Davis, man, pulled him down something fierce and cow-tied him, man. That's where they do it in Oklahoma. Just drug him down. That's a nice defensive play, disengaging from the blocker.
And the other thing he did was he got his hand off of his headgear and down quickly. That was a good no call. Fans don't like it, but that was a clean tackle. 4th and 7. Well, you recall the way the first half ended for Tulsa. They were down by 21. They cut it to 7. That was a 54-yard boot to the Golden Hurricane, coming to the area known as Tornado Alley, and rattle some chains in the remaining 9+. Stay tuned. The walkway to the Student Union.
Yeah.
Here on the campus at Norman, Fox Sports 1 College Football is presented by Geico. Boy, what a lot of fun we've had in our stay here. Marvelous trip yesterday for lunch to the Union. Gracious hosts here in Norman. Joe Castiglione, one of my favorite athletic directors. He and David Bourne and that man, Bob Stoops, have been together as president, athletic director, and head coach the entire time. You couldn't say that about a lot of Division I universities. D'Angelo Brewer, the lone setback for Tulsa. That's a quick out to Kevin Lucas. And a wild and crazy finish, albeit without a lot of offense, in Columbia. Let's go to this studio now and hear from Jenny Tabb, the Carl's Jr.
Thanks, Tim. Number 22, Missouri hosting UConn. The Huskies looking for the upset. Under a minute to play, trying to tie it late with a field goal, but wait, they go for the win. Backup quarterback Tim Boyle is intercepted by Anthony Sherrills, and the Tigers cut out the clock, hold on to win 9-6.
They'll take it.
Two-time defending East champions in the SEC.
Well, remember,
dodging a bullet.
Yeah, well, remember they also lost to Indiana last year. Did that Missouri team. They have their moments. It's an emotional game week after week. I'm sure they're happy to just get out of there with a W. 3rd down and 6 for Tulsa. Gotta believe it's 4-down territory the rest of the way for them, though.
No question.
Gotta believe that.
Cut down the splits. Look at this little safety here high. The slant is wide open for him.
Brewer in motion.
Pressure two.
Boom. He's going to go fade towards Brewer. He doesn't even see the ball. He never saw the ball in flight. Dominic Alexander.
Yaris Garrett was wide open, though. I mean, again, I understand the notion of wanting to go up top, but man,
you had
the first down.
This surprises me that they're going to punt it. I would have thought that they were in 4-down territory the rest of this game.
Well, it doesn't really surprise me there because I think they can still move the ball and score. I mean, it's just a matter of picking the right matchup. They've proven they can score.
Yeah, well.
So, I mean, 8:32 is an eternity, Tim. I mean, that would be the only argument I would make.
And my argument would be it's a little harder when you're down 3 touchdowns than 2. I mean, they really haven't stopped Oklahoma. Oklahoma has stopped themselves, and that's been about it. They'll have good field position when we come back. Stoopsy trying to get past the hangover of a week ago. The NFL on Fox starts tomorrow at 11 a.m. with Fox NFL Kickoff. Join Carissa Thompson. She sits down with DeMarco Murray to find out why he left Big D to sign with the rival Eagles. Then it's Fox NFL Sunday, live from the Emmys red carpet with special guest Andy Samberg dropping by. It all starts tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern only on Fox. Samaje Perine in the backfield. He'll tote it off the left-hand side. Gets it out to the 40-yard line, and let's go down to Bruce Feldman. Do we have a numbers watch at work here, Bruce?
We do, Tim. In the great history of Oklahoma, with all the fantastic football players they've had, no Sooners ever accounted for 7 touchdowns in a game. Baker Mayfield has 6, and also 550 yards plus offense.
Yeah, he could get to that 7th. He could. And that's why you should have gone for it on 4th down, Tulsa. Head to the 45-yard line. I mean, they could be putting the exclamation point on this one right here, right now.
Again, Timmy, I think it was as much a fact of what they feel offensively they could do as it was Oklahoma scoring. And I agree with Coach Montgomery with what he had to do. I mean, I think the option was to take the slant route instead of trying to go up top with it.
Right. I'll listen to that. Going with that fade pattern that Brewer couldn't even see in the air was a curious call. There's Perine piercing the 40 down to the 38-yard line.
But when you're accurate, though, it really matters. The ball just underneath the arm of the defender there, and Mayfield just weaved it right in that little needle, in that eye of the needle for a strike.
2nd down and 3. Other than a fumble, it's been a big day for both he and Mixon running the football. Lynn Scott with the tackle. I mentioned going to break a moment ago that Bob Stoops' team was trying to dodge the potential hangover. By that I mean you play against a ranked opponent on the road and get a credibility win. Then you have to come back the next week against a team you're supposed to beat handily, and you play early in the day. I think they've thrived with this full cup of success that they've got going. Sterling Shepard on the receiving end. But this was one of those games you look at it, Spencer. They were primed to be pushed today. They handled it.
You got to give Bob Stoops credit. He understands that in this day and age, you got to dispense with the jerseys and all that. It's about intellectual property. When you get a guy like Philip Montgomery, comes from a place where he has great success against you, you have to respect that. Much like even when small ball was in vogue, when Les Miles was at Oklahoma State. He's one of the rare coaches that has multiple wins against Bob Stoops.
Correct.
Whether at LSU or at OSU, it's about the style of the game that matters.
4th and 2. Perine.
Got the first.
Yes, he did. With a little bit of help from his friends, ushered out of bounds, and the clock will tick once it's snapped again with yet another set of downs. Kerwin Thomas aiding him to the sidelines. 17th year here at Oklahoma. And a number of changes to his staff. 4 this year alone to his staff. Perine and Mixon in the backfield. And Samaje inside the 30 to the 26-yard line. The sophomore from Pflugerville.
We're getting close to the 4-minute, and this is one of the better, if not the best, 4-minute back in all of college football. Samaje Perine. If you want to protect the lead, this is the guy you're going to roll with. Yardage has been tough to come by and intermittent at times, but Samaje can do the job for you down here and hopefully close this deal if you're Bob Stoops and the Sooners.
How much more of a complete player can he become in this offense? We know he can run it for over 1,700 yards. But now in this offense, he's going to have to learn to catch it a bit more. We've got flags down pre-snap.
And the irony is Mixon is probably more suited for this offense, kind of like a Kenyon Drake.
False start. Offense, number 55. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
More athletic, perhaps, in better hands. But although Samaje did catch a touchdown pass,
that was
a big time reception there for score.
Josiah St. John was the guilty party there. The right tackle, 2nd and 10 coming up.
2nd and 10.
Perine again to the 20 and another 1st down. Tick, 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 tick.
Well, that's what he does best, and again, that's what you're doing. And I was really sitting here thinking, well, whether or not Lincoln Riley would try to pass the ball there. Perish the thought. This is what you need to be doing right here. But I'm telling you, man, I've seen it happen when guys get married to these air raid attacks and these wide open attacks. they do what they do. I mean, that's, if for you history buffs out there, that was one of the reasons why Kevin Gilbride was attempted to be hit by Buddy Ryan all those years ago.
Yeah.
You know, because he was trying to pass the ball when we had a lead. We were trying to protect Oilers and the Jets.
I remember that. I sure do. Yeah. P. Ryan, he's getting a few more though, and more, and touchdown.
83 got to 103 just like that.
Therein the dilemma. What do you do, Timmy? You have great success running the football and your wide open spread attack, and that's what fans are going to be talking about. I guarantee you after this, they won't understand it.
Well, they better, because it's the day and time you're living in. You're playing in a league with Baylor and TCU. You got to score, baby, score. Fast, get a lead. Be comfortable knowing you got a big guy that can get you big yards and put it away. For those of you that are tuning in, and I know many of you are, for the UTSA Oklahoma State game, we'll get you out there immediately after the conclusion of our game. In the meantime, that game is available to you now on Fox Sports 2 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Justin Kutcher and Steve Hutchinson hard at work, and we'll be joining them on Fox Sports 1 immediately after our game. We have 4 and change left here in a 21-point Oklahoma lead. Going to be a lot of games where you say first 1 to 50 wins. Trust me. Bishop Louis brings it back. And the Golden Hurricane get it to the 20. And that's where Evans trots out to the field to take over again. Let's go down to Bruce Feldman. Bruce?
Hey, Tim, Coach Stoops told us about how coaches are always evolving, and he's done that, even shaking up how his practice schedule is. A lot of teams have basically a soft walkthrough on Friday. He shook it up where basically they are a lot more intense on Friday than they are actually on Thursday. He said he got the idea from Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly said it's studies that have shown with elite athletes in track that they respond better that way. I said, does it work, Bob? He said it showed like it did so far. They had a great fourth quarter at Tennessee, and they've held the team that had almost 400 yards of offense in the first half to about 125 in this half.
Taking confusion training to another level again, so much so that impacting scheduling. It's outstanding stuff.
Langer right to the 33-34 yard line. Now they'll pick up Ohio State on their non-conference schedule soon. Begins next year.
Well, Joe Castiglione was excited about that opportunity and possibility, and going back to the olden days. I remember years ago when Uwe von Schamann kicked a big one here in 78, 79.
Yeah. Evans finds his man, Kearis Garrett. Well, they have been as advertised, the outstanding wide receivers. Lucas, Garrett, Josh Atkinson, giving these Sooners a workout in their secondary today. Langer's had an incredible day running the football, too, for the Golden Hurricane. It's been more his day than Brewer's. He has 160 yards rushing and a touchdown. Tough back, the kid from Jinx, Oklahoma.
Well, Philip Montgomery's Hurricane.
Look at this. Wide open touchdown. Kevin Lucas absolutely broke free. Ahmad Thomas wasn't anywhere near him there. And he was at least 6 yards behind him.
Tim, that's one of the 3 you keep in your back pocket. I was talking about a minute ago. The stop, the hesitation. Thomas had him already behind the coverage. Great recognition, great route. It was just a go route. Went right past the coverage for a score. This Tulsa team can score, Timmy.
They can. I'll give you that. Do they have an onside in them? Redford Jones with the extra point. It's a 2-touchdown game. Now let's not forget what happened at the end of the first half, shall we? Oh, by the way, they reclaimed it, then asked Mary to help. She did. (52-38). Sooners lead. Bruce Feldman is down on the sidelines. He's been very busy today. Spencer Tillman alongside yours truly, Tim Brando. And remember, just the first of so many. That Oklahoma State UTSA game already getting underway on Fox Sports 2. We'll join that in progress here on FS1.
Tim, that was a 50-second drive right there. If you're wondering if this game is in the bag right now, I'm telling you, man.
I hear you. Weston Summer leading the way. Ross from his 11. Trying to tackle the guy as well as the ball. Let's take a look at this mix-up in their secondary on that last touchdown.
We've been talking about what happens in this spread era. It's really all about technique when you watch it. When it's not executed properly, that's when you get beat. Trying to settle, gets turned around inside out, just stays right on the streak route down the numbers. And again, technique will expose you every single time, Timmy.
Thomas was burned, the free safety on that one. Yeah, gonna lose some and win some in this game the way it's played today. And this is a precursor, when you think about it, of a lot of what you'll see later today and tonight in games played everywhere in the college landscape. Perine and Mixon are the setbacks. They're going to continue to pound and ground it here and let the clock continue to tick as Mixon forges ahead to the 31-yard line. Remember, they had to take a timeout, Tulsa did, before a punt very early in the third quarter. So they're down to 2.
Well, the Hurricane came in averaging 43.5 points per game. They may not get there today, but one thing is certain. They have the firepower with those 2 great wide receivers and a quarterback, Evans, who's made quality decisions to compete with anybody.
I meant to say the timeout was taken to open the third quarter, so they're down to 2. As you see Perine on the play fake, Mayfield keeps it, slides down shy of the 30-yard line. Just wants to continue to keep the clock ticking and force Montgomery to call a timeout, which he does.
Smart decision by sliding, keeping the clock running.
Remarkable day for the Texas Tech transfer. He's been absolutely as versatile as any quarterback I've seen this year.
He's a consummate leader, again, able to create when he needs to get the ball in his playmaker's hand. He does that, whether they're running backs in a slot alignment or wide. When he needs to take it in himself, he can do it. Does a tremendous job of putting the ball right on the mark to his tight end / Y guy. And then when I need to get it back to my playmakers at the wideout position, he can do that. Shepard and company also helped him along the way, Timmy. And when he needed to, Baker Mayfield showed you I can pull up and still throw a dart.
Oh, yeah, well, there's so many to turn to. Meads played today. Westbrook, you saw the Jarvis Baxter touchdown. I mean, the receivers targeted off the charts.
Yeah, Westbrook especially, had a great day after a couple of drops against Tennessee. And he's a guy that's been around, junior college transfer. He's a father of 2.
This is a big third down conversion. Well, that's a false start by Oklahoma. That's 75. Samia that's going to be guilty here.
True Samia.
Yep, Samia. That's the first time that he's been tagged. And again, part of that makeshift front affected by the loss of Ty Darlington today, the starting center. They hope to get him back for their next game. Here's Perine. Winning so much on his own. I think he got the first down. I think the extra effort got him the first down. Well, Tulsa was warming up to get another crack at the football, and it doesn't appear that they'll get it.
Got a little bit lax in the inside to Tulsa in their run defense, and these guys are worn down. And again, one of the best 4-down backs, 4-minute backs in the game. Perine doing a number on the Hurricane back end.
I want to thank our spotter today, Brett Bender, statistician Scott Alexander, for a job well done up here in the booth. Our entire crew, producer Mike Elling, Doug Freeman, our director. Getting our FS1 day started in college football as Perine sets sail again. Inside the 50 to the 48. Associate Director Max Lanois. who gives us the best folders in sports every week.
They're elite,
the
top
best
shelf stuff, man.
Information folder on top of information folder.
I love last week's, the double rainbow all the way.
Nothing better than Max Langwall's folders. 1st and 10. Pirine. Very entertaining game, and one that I think Oklahoma's glad to have in their rearview mirror, because Philip Montgomery's team came with everything they had, still fighting to get the ball back. But this was a dangerous game for Bob Stoops' club. Very dangerous.
And he acknowledged as much. Again, we talk about the college game being very much a coach's game. And so when you bring that intellectual property that's been so successful as Baylor has, winners of 3 of the last 4, admittedly, you got to be concerned about what you may be facing.
Pirine just won't go down. The Dr. Pepper one-of-a-kind play of the game. How about this one, Spencer?
Well, it's a great job of mobility, ability to skate. Find a man in the end zone again. One looking a lot like Johnny Manziel. I have to tell you, man, that great improvisational skills served him well.
Before he threw the ball, it was almost like a three-point shooter, Steph Curry, with a step-back three. Kind of a step-back three.
I'll three you, then see you.
Yeah, well, he didn't have to worry about putting it through a net or any iron, but trust me, the right arm kind today to that man.
Well, the thing about it is once he reacts, you've got to respond to what he's doing. And so if you're a linebacker, you move forward. If any coverage is over the top or developing routes, they're going to come open. It's about spacing.
Tulsa's going to take their final timeout with a minute remaining and a 3rd down and 3 coming up. The upcoming schedules for these teams, particularly on the Oklahoma side, they'll take a much deserved home opportunity with West Virginia. Never easy. Then the big one, Red River rivalry in Dallas against the Longhorns. Then at Kansas State. And Houston, they're playing well right now. Ahead for the Golden Hurricane. They'll step out of conference and take on UL Monroe, and then East Carolina. That team is a tough out, as everyone knows, and Coach Fuentes has got it going on with Memphis too.
By the way, they talk about degrees of separation back in the day. Justin Fuente was a quarterback here at Oklahoma.
That's right. That's the reason that Blankenship wound up, I think, with the opportunity to coach at Memphis with him. The relationship those two had. So 3rd down and 3 coming up. And a chance for Oklahoma to effectively put this one on ice if they can get a 1st down. Pirine. Looks like he's got it. That should do it. Now looking ahead to matchups today, we talk about better athletes sometimes, but tempo and style can sometimes do the trick. I have a couple of examples of that in big games in college football coming up later this afternoon and tonight.
Yeah, that Ole Miss Alabama game is going to be one, and I've got Alabama on upset alert in that one. But back to our game, Timmy, there's a lot you're going to be able to take away if you're Oklahoma or Tulsa in this game. But Matt Linscott, I guarantee you I'd take him to play for me anywhere in the nation. He is a baller.
He reminds me a little of a smaller version of Scooby Wright, that kid.
That's a good point. Active.
Another capacity crowd, another sellout here at Memorial Stadium. And the Oklahoma Sooners give win number 92 in 100 tries at home for that man, Bob Stoops.
A lot of success here today, but they'll have to go back to the drawing board to figure out again, once again, Timmy, who they really are identity-wise offensively.
Let's get you down to Stillwater for UTSA Oklahoma State. Justin Kutcher and Steve Hutchinson with the call.